Hello, welcome back. All right, let's see. We're doing another Cursed Internet night. This is going to be just watching some random videos, looking at some creepy websites, and we'll maybe play an ARG or two, depending on what I can find. In the meantime, if anyone finds anything super weird or creepy they want me to take a look at on stream, drop it in the chat. I'll be paying attention. I'm just going to get right into it. I absolutely love Nexpo's videos, so we're going to start here. And as always, let me know if something needs to be adjusted, whether it be volume on my end or volume of the video. I'm actually gonna make myself a little...
For the past 3 years, I've been waiting to show you something truly special. An analog horror series that I wholeheartedly, with everything in me, believe is one of the most underrated, most haunting, most unsettling that I have ever seen. It invoked this primal fear within me, especially considering that I watched it late at night, lights off, completely alone. Allow me to introduce you to Oakburn Opus, an analog horror series crafted by a creator named Red Diamond. Within it, we peer in on a town that, on a random night in 1997, had vanished from the face of the earth. 1,043 people went missing without a trace. And throughout these videos, we take on the role of a detective ensnared in this case. But as they dig, they begin to realize that not only are the answers here elusive, but something in Oakburn is very off. Now, Oakburn Opus is meant to be a trilogy. However, as of writing, only 2 parts have been released. While the case, however, Red Diamond does have 2 other uploads, The Circles and The Starving Five, that appear to serve as prequels, fleshing out the world being built here. And so, before we get to the Oakburn incident, we're gonna back it up a bit, because there's a hell of a tale to tell here. Grab that snack and cozy up, because you and I have a long ride ahead of us. This, my friends, is the vanishing of Oakburn. Alright guys, before we continue, I gotta tell you about tonight's video sponsor, Incogni. So right after Christmas, data from Volkswagen users was leaked in one of the biggest data breaches they have ever had. Bad actors were able to gain access to names, addresses, birthdays, even detailed data of their movement, essentially giving them a complete profile of people's daily lives. To me, the idea of someone tracking me like this is terrifying, which is, again, why I'm an avid user of Incogni. Incogni is a service that safeguards your info through a dedicated hands-on team that scours the net for any traces of your data online. Whenever it's found, and it will be, Incogni gets after it, submitting legal demands to reinstate your privacy. My favorite part about Incogni is the peace of mind it gives me. It allows me to step back and chill out, because I know that there's a dedicated team out there fighting for my online privacy. Go to incogni.com/Nexpo and use code Nexpo for an exclusive offer of 60% off. Once again, that's incogni.com/Nexpo and use code Nexpo, or click the link below to take your personal data off the market. Thanks so much again to Incogni. Now let's get back to it. Ethan Astor is a famous photographer from Itasovik, Alaska. On December 5th, 1986, his wife, Martha Astor, reported that her husband was showing a strange obsession with circles. He would constantly draw the shapes on the walls of their basement. He would also refuse to eat, sleep, or talk to Martha. But Ethan wasn't the only one dealing with such an obsession. Many citizens from Itasovik started to show the same obsession with circles around the same time. The government issued an emergency evacuation for Itasovik a day before this strange incident. All of Itasovik's citizens evacuated, except for the obsessed ones. Martha returned to Itasovik days later, only to find out that her husband, along with the dozens of other people who decided to stay, was gone. Our video begins on December 5th, 1986, in a secluded mountain town called Itasovik, Alaska. A man named Ethan Astor reveals himself as the video's creator and leaves behind a message. Welcome to Itasovik, the town where I live. What you're about to see is my town's haunting. We're not haunted by ghosts or monsters, but by simple shapes. The circles. They come every once in a while, and when they do, we evacuate the town. The people who decide to stay are never seen again. They will come in 5 days. I'll stay here.
There's only one song worth singing. They may try to tell you.
The video jumps forward to the day of the haunting. We're shown the isolated exterior of the Astor home before we're greeted with an ominous letter. Ethan, this is going too far. I no longer feel comfortable around you. You haven't spoken to me or left the basement for days now. By the time you read this, I'll be far away. Please seek help. Martha. Thinking back to the video's description, the town, as it stands right now, is solely inhabited by those obsessed with circles. This fixation seems to manifest in a lack of sleep, of appetite and thirst, and effectively turns all of those afflicted into shells of their former selves. Ethan, a once famous photographer, is now completely alien to his wife. But how and why is he acting like this? Following this, we're shown various angles of the Astor home, to which we gain insight into the extent of Ethan's obsession. Their home is pristine, a far cry from what you'd expect given his condition. But as we observe their bedroom, the cracks in the facade begin to show. We head down a hallway and into the basement. A circle is painted on the cellar door, and upon entering, we find Ethan with his drawings scrawled across the wall. We approach nightfall. Channel 5 signs off for the night. And just in time, because
I wonder if this had any influence on Junji Ito's Uzumaki stuff. The circles do come.
that night, an unnatural circular cloud forms over the town. And inside, Ethan is waiting.
Hello? Ethan? Bruh. No need to do that. Wait a minute! Hi. I've got red eyes too, man.
The cellar door keeping Ethan locked inside is broken open after an unknowable alien amalgamation of flesh and light completes some sort
bot.
of ritual. And from what it seems,
Get out of here, bot.
something has changed.
I bought squishing boots. I'm wearing them today.
The walls warp and crumble. The fabric of what we understand as reality is now littered with circles everywhere you turn.
Jeez. Flash warning. Gross. I hate squelching. But I don't like that. Looks like a rectum. Yuck. Kill me. Are you? That's nice, I guess.
The people who decide to stay are never seen again. Some say they join the circles. And now, I'm one of them.
Okay. Jason? Ah, look at that. Uzumaki. I knew
Uzumaki
it.
is a story by Junji Ito in which we explore a world afflicted by spirals. In the first chapter of the first volume, the tale narrows its focus to a man named Mr. Saito, someone who randomly noticed the shape out of place in an alleyway. As the story carries on, he grows an unhealthy obsession with the spirals. He begins to collect hundreds of them. He compulsively stirs his food. His eyes begin to twist. And at the end, completely out of nowhere, he creates a spiral of his own. Contorted and mangled. It's of himself. Dead in his tub. The
That's
parallels
real
between the
unfortunate.
circles and Chapter 1 of Uzumaki are clear, and much like the latter, the affliction terrorizing this town is never explained. It's a horror that simply exists, something that the residents accept as normal. It has no structure, no form, and the only way anyone's able to conceptualize what it is they're experiencing is by chalking it up to a haunting. According to Martha Astor, her husband Ethan was never seen again. He became one with them, contorting his body into a circular, sentient mass of flesh.
Ew.
Yet the most horrifying aspect of it is
Really?
that regardless of his predicament,
That's
he's happy,
crazy.
content with the fact
Duke.
that he will forever exist under a veil of ignorant bliss. Itazovic, as they see it, is haunted by circles.
I waited
And people
to
are
stomp
going
on
missing
the bot, hoping
every
you would
single
show
time
up.
They appear.
You did not. I waited.
Your quest for truth has granted you a void in your stomach, and now I shall punish you for it.
Okay. I'm gonna have to get an emote made of my feet just for you.
The Starving Five begins by displaying multiple illustrations. In the first, we can observe an isolated landscape with the eyes peering down upon it. In the second, the corpse of a deer. And in the third, we bear witness to a horned, three-headed creature. Interestingly, upon enabling the captions here, we can observe a hidden message. An exiled spirit, rejected from the domains of the afterlife, damned with an endless hunger, a mouth that can't eat, and a throat that can't swallow. It takes shame on its grotesque form, using every aspect of its unnatural
I've got
physicality to lure and capture
My coffee
prey.
monster.
It's
Does that
subjective.
count? I'll send you a pic for proof.
Its flesh and ego. Now, hang on. This creature is surrounded by a shape. Circles, which leaves me to wonder, are they the only threat afflicting Itazovic, or are they somewhat of a precursor to something much darker? Our video begins on December 21st, 11 days after the assimilation of Ethan Astor. We're shown a cabin in the remote wilderness, and it seems lifeless. No power, no fire. No one is home. We are starving. The engine is dead. A flimsy wooden shelter keeps us away from the snow.
Bummer.
Heat escapes through the cracks. Our skin hardens. Animals sing and hiss, but nothing is seen. We are starving.
It's my favorite. I can't drink the regular monsters because I don't do super
Your
well with
quest for truth
carbonation,
has
but
granted you a
I'll drink the
void in your
coffee
stomach,
and the teas.
And now I shall punish you for it. This cabin isn't empty.
If you're gonna
There are
punish me,
weapons
at
for
least buy me a
self-defense,
drink first.
books and belongings, a vehicle completely snowed over and dead. The starving five are locked in this cabin with no food, no water, and no warmth.
Yeah,
and
I like
staring them
the
down,
strawberry
taunting them
ones
day
and the peach
after
ones.
day are the skeletal remains of a creature that once could have been food. I find it interesting that this takes
Taking
place on
notes.
December 21st, as, in my opinion, ample time had passed since the incident with Ethan. Perhaps this group was driving back to Itazavik to see what remained of their home. Perhaps these five all have a loved one who stayed. These people are on a quest for truth, yet something out there has stricken them, damning
Hopefully
them to
the
this
video
frozen
volume is
confinement.
not too loud.
Gary heard his lover's call. Natasha followed him blindly. Alex dreams unquietly. I watched the rumbling snow attentively. We are not starving alone.
Well, I guess you could be. That's probably not as bad. Unless cannibalism. Is this cannibalism? I'm getting cannibalism.
The storm picks up as the sounds of inhuman creatures echo throughout the night.
It's the wind.
And inside, someone is waiting.
Is this until dawn? Because that's what it sounds like. Duke. Oh. Hi. I really don't ever need someone's eye that close to me.
Now fully awake, this person gets up and peers out into the main cabin before realizing that the front door is wide open.
Sounds like a you problem.
The anxious dreamer wanders unconsciously. Will you follow him?
I hope you're saying no to the eye thing and not saying no to the fact that he does not have to buy me a drink if he wants me to torture him.
The video cuts out before placing us in front of a telephone 4 days prior.
Do you believe she's still there? Alive?
Alex,
It's been a month.
she's dead.
There's
This scene
always
is
a
hostile.
price.
All it takes is one detour, a miscalculated step, and you're gone. But Gary still has, albeit naive and delusional, hope that we can still find her. And who would dare to take that away from him? This is the least we can do.
I suppose they will look for nothing and find nothing, and somehow that's supposed to numb the pain.
Perhaps. People disappear and are forgotten year after year, and everyone turns away because they fear the truth. Perhaps the mere attempt, even if redundant, to find the truth can take us away from this melancholy. Tomorrow we'll leave in the morning. Natasha will give us a ride. As we expected, it seems like the residents of Itazavik aren't even trying to fight back or understand the phenomenon plaguing their home. They're living in complete ignorance, blind to the reality unfolding right in front of them. Perhaps those who changed, who became obsessed with the circles, weren't going crazy after all. Maybe they were digging, trying to figure out what the hell was happening. I mean, if your town suddenly became a target of an inexplicable threat that nobody else was taking seriously, it's a safe bet that you'd go crazy, too. After cutting back to present day, we've left the comfort of our cabin. Something beckons for us to follow. And so we do.
That sounds like a poor choice, but go ahead. That's not my name. Ah, no. Stop with the eyeballs. That's enough.
We spot something in the distance, just barely out of view.
Grandma? No.
And what greets us? The frozen, distorted corpse of Gary.
Not Gary! Gary! Aww. Gary. Oh, Natasha. What's with the eyes? Ew. That's the jaw. Oh. That's a dog. Wendigo. Gotta be. Ew, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. Damn, Gary, you look rough.
As Dimitri stared into the night sky,
and it's just like
something
so random.
somehow had taken over his mind, pulling him out of reality and into a tomb similar to, but just slightly different from, where he came from. No longer was he outside.
It's like
he became
they could have
confined
done
in the
this
cabin
without
with
all
the physical
that.
manifestation of the creature we saw at the very beginning of this video. As it beckons for us to starve together, various missing flyers flash before our eyes. Dmitry Olov, Gary Astor, Natasha, and Alex Lebedev. There were only ever 4 people in the cabin that night, and that's because the 5th is right in front of us.
Jump scare? No.
Alright guys, Ryan from the future here. So quick thing. So the end of this video contains copyrighted music and conveniently also harbors a lot of key points that sets the foundation for what's to come. I was originally planning on just showing it to you, but because of the music, I'm just gonna have to walk you through it. So following this scene, we jump forward to December 22nd, the very next morning. We're shown the interior of the cabin before a shadow passes across the screen. We then cut to a shot of Dimitri's eyes, in which we can observe that they're not normal, but completely gone. This man has been robbed of his eyesight, his humanity, everything he has ever known, and is now confined with the physical manifestation of decay and rot, taunting him forever. Days, weeks, and months pass, and nothing changes. Dmitri pleads for his eyes, for food, for anything to save him from this torment. Yet nothing ever comes.
Oh, dang.
And in the end, he has become one with the starving five. A fate worse than hell.
How does that
itself.
take months? You can't live that long
The ending
without
here
food
establishes
or water.
that whatever victims find
Like a
themselves
week
wandering,
tops.
pursuing the truth of those afflicted by the Atazovic incident are perhaps doomed to suffer a fate much worse. Nothing about your existence is worth anything anymore. You simply exist in a void where nobody can hear you, nobody can see you, nobody is coming to help. You know, at least Ethan got the liberty of suffering in a blissful ignorance, a euphoric existence of flesh comprising something that man cannot even understand. Yet here, I wouldn't wish this on anyone.
Okay, and next bow. No, you come back here right now. I'm watching you. Hi. I did not. Mm-mm. Yes, you do. Minecraft? No.
And so, Act 1 is now under our belts. A tale from 1986 outlining an eerie phenomenon plaguing an isolated mountain
I'm
town.
always watching, always
People
listening.
are dying, contorting into forms completely alien. And most harrowing of all, something has awakened, damning people into an agonizing, eternal existence. It goes without saying that there are incomprehensible horrors lurking around Atazovic. However, we haven't even seen the cruelest one yet. Something else
much
is out
prettier
there, lying
than that
in wait,
thing,
and
though.
I have reason to believe that everything up to this point was nothing but a precursor for what's yet to come. Refill your drink and grab another pack of Oreos, because you and I are far from done here.
I don't have any.
And so we
Oreos.
continue. Back down the abyss we go.
Hey, you leave my home out of this. What is it with humans and just blanket statementing the abyss? No, I won't stand for it. Aw, thank you.
Oakburn Opus 1 begins at, well, Lake Oakburn. We're informed that in 1997, the population of Old Oakburn had vanished overnight. And in 2024, classified information from the Oakburn case was leaked by anonymous sources. A new light is shed on the case, which branches into countless
Can't be
theories,
that
hypotheses,
scary
and
if I'm
discussions.
down here, right?
The following images are based on the manuscript's findings belonging to an anonymous inhabitant and a restored cassette tape depicting the phenomena.
I don't know how much I have to bat my eyes at you to make you believe that.
What follows from here are sets of evidence pertaining to the Oakburn case. We begin by honing in on a suspect, someone called Oakburn's flutist, and at first glance,
I'll show you
this
sometime
person appears
when you come to visit.
oddly menacing. It's a horned, humanoid figure that we can hardly discern in the distance. We're then given some backstory, straight from the Oakburn residents themselves. On a cold morning, the outsiders stumbled upon our gates. and quickly became a welcomed guest through the sweet and captivating melody of his flute. My people brought him into our village, a secluded place west of the Atazavik Mountains. We provided the flutist food, water, and shelter.
Repo!
And in return, the man continued to enchant our people with the tunes of the winds. Following this, the video transitions to a written testimony by, presumably, the other residents of Oakburn. The children adored him, soothed by the melodic blows. Men and women respected him, and for the great entertainment and happiness provided by the flute. To the more humble folk, the flutist was a gateway form of art. As were shown various illustrations of the flutist playing their music, we can observe a strange circular symbol emanating from him. And given the fact that it lands upon the heads of those listening, it seems to depict
Me
almost
too.
like these people
It's
are being
so
sent
much
into
fun.
an inexplicable trance.
I haven't streamed it
Someone
yet, though.
interrupts. He hid them under the veil of reality, impossible to breathe beyond existence. Keep looking. Do not follow the melody.
Okay. So that's one of those you don't see the bodies in the water things.
He adapted to our customs, ate and drank from our kitchen, hummed our chants, and honored our altars without ever voicing a single thought. The flutist used the wind as his words and melodies as his speech. Within the wind, it hid fangs. Within the wind, it breached our spirit. Within the wind, the flute burned the veil.
Okay, wait. Quick sidebar. Because I was going to ask you, Duke, we streamed for 4 hours together yesterday, and you didn't take a break at all. Like, do you just regularly stream for that long and don't at all? Oh, so you're a masochist. Okay, good to know. Although, to be fair, that 4 hours felt like nothing. So I totally get how it could just get away from you. Anyway, back to it. I got distracted for a second. I was like, oh, I gotta ask him this. Bro, that's insane. I hope I can get there one day. Yes, I did already know that he was a masochist because of the oh, that's right. I have to do this for him. There's your daily dose of steppies. Oh, am I too big now? Move over here. Should be better. There.
I find it interesting that Martha Astor, the same Martha Astor whose husband became obsessed with circles over 16 years prior, is now playing a hand in investigating the strange phenomenon in this neighboring town. Thinking back to the description of the Starving Five, we can recall that it read, "Your quest for truth has granted you a void in your stomach, and now I shall punish you for
That
it."
would cost you.
Martha, by the very nature of this investigation, is on a quest for answers. And given everything we've seen so far, some arcane force is punishing troves of people across the Atazavik Mountains. This leads me to believe that Martha, by the time this tape is viewed, is bound to have undergone some form of punishment herself. Whether it's the death of both Gary and Ethan, two relatives undoubtedly close to her, or if she's since gone missing as well, remains
Stop
to be
letting
seen.
your relatives go
But
off into the
what
woods by
does stand out to me
themselves. What's
are the
wrong with
hidden
you?
messages warning of the flutist's true intentions. Like we saw in the Starving Five, there exists a purgatory under the veil of reality, a place in which those afflicted cannot breathe, speak, or see, a place in which you're damned to exist, starving and freezing for eternity.
That's rough.
It almost seems like someone confined there is breaking through, casting out messages to warn us of an impending fate. And so I'm left to wonder, is this Martha? Is Martha the one that leaked this evidence? As it stands, the
love walks
flutist,
through the
regardless of how
woods.
enchanting he seems on the
Don't
surface,
ruin the
is
woods
not
for
a good
me.
person. He almost seems like a false prophet, and the people of Oakburn are falling straight into his trap. In the next scene, we move on to evidence 2, an audio recording titled The Magnum Opus. We're told that in 1997,
I can't
the
go
great flutist of Old
camping
Oakburn
because
announces the
bugs hate
completion of his
me.
magnum opus. A presentation
But
is set to happen
I
Friday night at Lake Oakburn.
enjoy
Hundreds of men, women, and
like,
children gather near the
walking
lake
through
in
spooky
anticipation.
woods in the quiet.
And this is what took place.
Okay.
As the crowd cheers, a monolith adorned with the exact symbol we saw upon the heads of the townsfolk glows.
Ah, fancy. Obviously, it's a cult. Identify, interpret, and follow.
Something isn't right. We're greeted by diverging paths, and given the instructions that were plastered in our face, we're left to follow. Follow the music.
No, it's the Pied Piper. I'm assuming it's like Fleshwalker stuff or Wendigoons. Oh yeah. Ramhead dude back there. Oh, that wasn't me. That's part of the video. Okay. I was like, what the fuck? Oh, jump scare. Yes. Oh my God. I have a fear.
And as we get a closer look at the flutist's face, we realize that this person, this thing, isn't anything close to a prophet at all. Everyone in Old Oakburn had opened themselves up to, welcomed and nurtured a demon.
Yeah, I can totally see the resemblance. I do love that movie though.
The morning after, Old Oakburn woke up to silence. 1,043 inhabitants disappeared overnight. After quick and inconclusive investigations, little evidence was found. The existence and whereabouts of the flutist remained an unanswered enigma. That was until 2003. The search for Old Oakburn's population continues.
Well, I'm in 2026, so I'm gonna assume those people were never found.
Alright, so in this latest act of the story, we gain access to a leaked evidence tape chronicling the disappearance of an entire mountain town right next to Itazavik called Oakburn. On a random night in 1997, all 1,043 of its inhabitants had vanished from the face of the earth, with the prime suspect never to be found.
That's a
We're
hell of a
introduced to the
demon.
Oakburn flutist, an enigmatic presence that had effortlessly won over the hearts of the entire town. The townsfolk were so enamored by his mystique and musical prowess that they became mesmerized in a way, wrapped up under a spell of adoration without even knowing it. As the video progresses, we're given messages from an unknown source, warning us of the flutist's true intentions, before we realize that Martha Astor, 16 years after her husband's death, is playing a hand in this investigation. Given the clues from both here and the Starving Five hinting at this agonizing spiritual purgatory, I do wonder what the current state of Martha actually is. Throughout this video, we bear witness to a monolith adorned with a sigil, a circle with 9 triangles that begins to glow in red whenever the flutist begins playing his magnum opus. From what it seems, the interjections that happen, telling us to follow the music, seems to be a stylistic representation of what the people of Oakburn witnessed when entranced beneath the spell. But out of everything, what I find most interesting is that right in the middle of all of this, we're shown a random shot of an IPD police car. Why is it abandoned? And why does this tape make it a point to show us that it's here? We know that this evidence was leaked by an unknown source, and so I've gotta ask, did the Itazavik Police Department know about this before it happened? Is this why the case was closed so rapidly? Again, 1,043 people up and vanished, a monumental case that would undoubtedly have an entire investigative team working on it for years. It makes no sense, yet at the same time makes all the sense in the world.
So we're like,
were they
nah,
involved
fuck
here?
this shit.
Or is this case truly as unsolved as they claim it is?
They just don't want to fuck with it. Which I don't blame them for.
He knows well his wicked ways. In Oakburn Opus 2, we jump forward to 2003, peering in on an isolated home 25 miles from Lake Oakburn. We're shown that the home belongs to the Lebedevs, a relative of Alex from the Starving Five. At first, things are quiet. However, something breaks the silence.
I stood upon their blood. No, go back. I wasn't done reading that. I stood upon the weapon. I stood before the flute, and the drowned city arose beneath my feet. Oh. It's like some bloody Atlantis.
We jump to police photographs from December 10th, 2003, 17 years to the day after Ethan's death. Here, we witness the Atozovic
It's
Police Department
just hate.
investigating the incident in the Lebedev residence.
Yeah.
Yet, it's accompanied with a strange message. The melody crawls in. The voice under the veil commands. And the vessel answers.
The only vessel I like is sleep tokens, so I'm good.
Stands before you, Detective Esther, is not a person.
Oh, it's this
I
voice.
exist incarcerated in a vessel of the arcane. I'll entertain your feeble sense of justice. I'll share you my tale. He knows well his wicked ways.
The melody crawls in, the voice under the veil commands, and the vessel answers. The person that has taken over this tape in hopes of taunting Martha believes themselves to be not a human, but a vessel, guided and manipulated by a force arcane. Contrary to what was implied in the previous video, it seems like the flutist's curse may not simply lead one to their death. Rather, it seems to warp people, turning them unapologetically wicked. December 10th. A call is made to the Atozovic Police Department from the Lebedev household. The caller confessed to having committed murder. Jackson and Oliver Lebedev were dead, their bodies aligned in the dark room. The Lebedev brothers, naturalist photographers of Atozovic, searched to capture the empty landscape of the mountains. The criminal was never identified. For the convenience of this investigation, the killer will be addressed by the pseudonym John Doe. We make it to the third piece of evidence in the Oakburn case.
That's what we
involving
call
the Lebedev murders.
unidentified dead
We're told
bodies,
that Martha Astor
not
had performed
the
a direct
killers.
interrogatory of the killer with the proposed timeline to follow.
I'm
December
so
5th,
sorry about the
2003.
ads.
John
I have
Doe
to
is
figure
led
that
by
out.
the melody of a wind instrument emanating from Lake Oakburn.
I love you guys, though. Thank you for putting up with them to support me. Here's some Hips to thank you. I mean, I didn't say hips. Twitch, don't ban me. They're covered. Calm down.
From the very first moment the flute touched my mind, I was sure to have been struck by something on the roadway roaming the depths of the lake.
Near the lake, John Doe encounters a monolith. On the surface of the smooth rock, a symbol was carved. A circle and 9 triangles.
I'm sure this'll help your fear of water, Duke.
I witnessed, in clear and inscrutable reason, the flute and the man. They taught me wisdom from the bottom of the lake, with a drowned city and the millions who rest there. He raised me in that instant as a vessel. The emblem etched upon the rock, the beautifully profane assortment of a circle and 9 triangles suddenly gleamed in crimson hue. The song wove a web, his desire in an instant made clear. In the flute, I discerned the will of expansion which I was to provide.
After the encounter, John wanders the mountain for 5 days, allegedly in a deranged state of mind. Oakburn and the incident of 1997 was not the only goal the flutist sought to execute, and wiping 1,043 people off the face of the earth was merely the start of it. John, unlike the millions of others confined to this so-called drowned city, wasn't killed. He was conditioned as a vessel, turned wicked, serving an evil in which he can hardly comprehend. We jump forward 5 days to the night of the murder. December 10th, 2003. John comes across the Lebedev residence.
It's common for many inhabitants of remote areas and hidden places to forget that their front doors are locked, a naive custom often conditioned by the emptiness surrounding it. Through the window, I beheld his lichen shape. The spectre whispered in evoking horror his unfathomable name, Morpheus.
The name Morpheus in ancient mythology doesn't exist. However, it bears a striking resemblance to Marsyas, a mythological satyr known to have invented the music of the flute. He was known to have played one crafted by the goddess Athena. However, given how his cheeks puffed up when doing so, she cast him and the instrument away in shame. Later on, and filled with undying pride, Marsyas had challenged the god Apollon to a musical contest, yet, unsurprisingly, had lost. And his punishment? He was tied to a tree and flayed alive, before his physical form was banished forever to exist, of all things, as a stream of water. It goes without saying that the parallels here are abundant. Marvpius is Oakburn's interpretation of Marsyas, a much, much more sinister Marsyas haunting the wilderness with nothing but the hypnotic tune of his flute, leading thousands to their deaths and entrancing whoever he wants, simply because he can. "11:42 a.m. John Doe furtively strikes the Lebedev brothers. Jackson takes a pickaxe hit to the thigh, snapping the femur, and is left debilitated. Oliver drags Jackson to the dark room at gunpoint upon performing a suboptimal tourniquet.
Wow, that's a fun time. Ooh, should have seen that coming.
Jackson is murdered by pickaxe, and the sigil, in blood, is drawn on the ground.
Buddy. Ew. He was shot? Okay.
Oh, Martha, the sole reason I stand before you, narrating my tale, contributed to your futile pursuit of a comprehensible truth, is to convey you his message.
Whose?
He calls you to the lake, your good friend beneath the veil. Visit
No.
the drowned city. Your failure to heed his warning will bring the same fate upon you and the few living folks you love.
Sounds like she's got a
You
stalker.
too.
Or someone in love with her. Martha. Don't do it, Martha. We don't negotiate with goat men.
We return to the dark room. The bodies of Jackson and Oliver lie in parallel, and in the corner, something stares unquietly.
Oh, good. You're my favorite.
In
lurker.
defiance of John's alleged method of murder, the bodies of Jackson and Oliver were found in contradictory conditions. Agents at the scene first observed vascular marbling, skin discoloration, and bloating in both bodies.
Gotta love some bloat.
An autopsy analysis revealed pulmonary injury, insinuating that drowning was the cause of death.
see that a lot, unfortunately.
I can't help but fixate on that bombshell at the very end because it effectively throws every single thing we
Lurker?
learned from
Yes.
this video on its head. Upon arrival, police did not discover bodies brutally
Not
hacked
that I have
away
many,
by a
but
pickaxe.
still.
They did not find evidence of death by gunshot. Oliver and Jackson somehow drowned in their home 25 miles from Lake Oakburn. As an audience, this revelation leaves us with a conundrum. For the past 14 minutes, we've entertained a killer that was never identified as he outlined the murder of 2 people. He describes in detail how he found them, which weapon was used, even the time they died. Yet, according to the autopsy, this never happened. In a way, we're left to ponder on their true fate, ultimately calling into question the veracity of everything we've seen so far. We witnessed with our own eyes the motivation, the target, the murder, and the corpses, and there's photographic proof that blood
witnessed
trails
it
littered the
all.
Lebedev home. This murder definitely happened. So who in the world is lying here? I find it interesting that these pieces of evidence, according to Oakburn Opus 1, were hidden from the public. I also find it interesting that after the disappearance of over 1,000 people, the investigation was supposedly rapidly closed. And I also find it interesting that after the call confessing to the murder was made, 2 police vehicles head out to the Lebedev home, yet only one returns. I think John Doe might be a member of the IPD, and I think the sole reason this happened to him is because he set out to the desolate Lake Oakburn to investigate the mass disappearance. The gunshots we hear aren't done by the brothers. They're done by him. The death of the Lebedevs happened exactly as it was described, yet after it was reported, the police who arrived there were murdered in cold blood. The only one to return was the killer, the vessel led by the flutist, and he's heading straight back into the heart of this investigation. The entire reason Martha Astor is being taunted is because she's the only one taking any interest in Oakburn, yet John, likely corresponding with her day after day, is always one step ahead in making this case nearly impossible for her to crack. The sigil drawn in blood is the key to the flutist's goal of expansion. That was how he was able to manifest inside their home. That is how he can spread his perimeter of influence, and that is the one goal that John will stop at nothing to execute. At this point, it's unclear how far he's going to take this, but I don't have high hopes for Martha or Itazovic at all.
Same. Not if a cop is the killer. Can I say that? It's fine. If Twitch Daddy gets mad at me, I'll just show him my boobs. I heard he likes those.
Alright, so there we have it. 4 intensely cryptic videos outlining a phenomenon terrorizing a small mountain town, leading to the unexplainable disappearance of thousands. The only connection? Sigils and shapes hinting at the birth of something sinister and an inexplicable grudge against mankind. Now, from what we've seen, this series leaves a ton of questions on the table. Why did the circles target Itazovic? How did the people of Oakburn truly die? What happened to the bodies of the starving 5? What is the reality of this drowned city? What truly happened within the Lebedev home? And what actually happens when cast under the spell of the Oakburn sigil? Now, this series as it stands is not over. Given the ending, an Oakburn Opus 3 was teased. However, due to a lack of exposure, Red Diamond had put the project on hiatus. I don't know about you, but I am intensely interested to see how this all ties together. And who knows, perhaps this video right here may be the push to make that happen.
Or this video.
Even still, though, I'm gonna do my best to piece everything together here into a cohesive story. There are so many moving parts, but I think we're onto something. To me, the story goes like this. (1986) Itasovik. The town has been afflicted by an otherworldly phenomenon involving circles. It is a regular occurrence, something that happens every year, causing droves of people to fall victim to it. Through flashing lights and strange arcane formations forming over their town, the circles seem to transform those obsessed into formless masses of flesh, and bizarrely, their remains are never found. Oddly, throughout both this and the Starving Five, we see remarks hinting at the fact that the residents of Itasovik live in this frustrating ignorance. Not once do they try to understand this phenomenon. All they do is run when they're told, which leaves us to wonder, why? 7 days after Ethan's death, a group of 4 people, Gary Astor, Natasha, Alex Lebedev, and Dmitry Olov, set out to Itasovik, and within just 4 days are met with a terrible fate. Their engine had died, their food gone. Heat becomes a luxury as it escapes the cracks of their paper-thin walls. And most harrowing of all, something had found them. A creature in which man cannot comprehend is stalking, luring the weak out of their shelter. Contrary to conventional predators, however, this one isn't doing this to feed. Rather, it seems to be doing it for pleasure. Gary Astor's corpse is found, blackened and frozen. Natasha and Alex are never seen again. And Dmitry, he's stripped of his eyesight and forever confined to a frozen purgatory as a horned creature eternally torments him.
Oh boy.
Over the next 11 years, it's likely that this entity had lied in wait, luring and capturing victims affected by the Itasovik phenomenon. But this wouldn't be the only manifestation of this incomprehensible horror, because as the bodies piled up, something
Look at
was
you
born
in your big
into existence.
gold box.
A humanoid manifestation of the creature from the Starving Five searches for a key. An ancient monolith adorned with a circle and 9 triangles, as it seems to bear a power godlike
I'm sorry.
in nature.
You just
Now,
put it in my
we know
face.
from later on
I
that
didn't
its
have
name
a
is
choice.
Marcius, based upon the mythological satyr Marcius, and we also know that Marcius was flayed alive, the ultimate humiliation for his hubris. Marcius, for his entire life, was a laughingstock, something banished to exist as nothing more than a drunken embarrassment to gods themselves. In a way, his story is the ultimate tragedy. He was a jester stripped of any humanity he had, immortalized as a mistake of nature. Marcius,
They were
given
that
the caption from the
pissed
Starving
at a guy
Five,
for
is the
making
very
flute
definition
music.
of an exiled spirit. And because of his fate and the embarrassment he endured, it's likely that he now aims to do the same to man. A pent-up vengeance, per se. Multiple millennia in the making. After acclimating to their customs and hypnotizing Oakburn with his prowess, Marcius reveals his magnum opus, the ultimate awakening of an ancient sigil. That night, the atmosphere of thousands of people morphed from adoration
See,
to
Duke,
unfettered
you weren't
fear
here
as they all became
when I
puppets,
talked about
guided by the hand of a
showing my
demon to
boobs.
walk straight to their death, right into Lake Oakburn. The drowned city, a fate both literal and figurative, seems to be the flutist's own version of hell, an endless damnation stripping you of your humanity as it was done to him, left
And
to
no,
exist for
I
as long as it
don't
takes pleasure
mean the
in
Twitch
keeping you
throwables.
entombed.
Yeah, I said
people
if I
of
say
Oakburn
something
vanished
that
from
gets
the
me
face of
banned
the
on
earth.
stream,
Yet they're screaming,
I'll just
pleading,
show
and
Twitch
completely
Daddy my
confused,
boobs
with
because
no one
I heard
out
he
there to
likes
hear them.
those.
6 years pass, and an officer from the IPD is investigating at Lake Oakburn.
Appreciate it.
And much like
A
he
lot
stated,
of
he heard
talent
the flutist call and went forth to
work
follow it.
went into making me look
Unbeknownst to
this
him,
good.
however, he becomes ensnared in his spell. Yet, instead of being killed, he's enlightened with a knowledge man can hardly comprehend on their own before being instilled with one single goal.
Maybe I'll have to pay my artist to make my thighs clap.
He's instructed to hunt, to find a new set of victims to spread his perimeter of influence. And so, 25 miles from Lake Oakburn, he encounters a home like a beacon in the night. He brutally murders the Lebedev brothers, going on to use their blood to draw a sigil on the ground. And this is how Marvpius is able to manifest in the corner. This is how he grows in power. And this is likely the fate that awaits the rest of Itazovic. John Doe, after returning to the IPD, is leading the cover-up on the Oakburn case, and Martha Astor fails to realize that he's right in front of her. In a way, it's come full circle. A town already living in a blissful ignorance, afflicted by a force they can hardly understand, nor try to, is the perfect population to target. Who knows if the Oakburn incident could happen again? Or perhaps it will. And we just haven't yet seen it. You know, it was only 4 videos, but I feel like we've just ventured into an entire universe that I desperately want more of.
Me
Akin
too.
to The Witch, Antlers, even tinges
This
of
is
Hereditary.
interesting.
The atmosphere on display here is
Hereditary.
masterclass, and I cannot wait to see where this story goes from here.
Please.
The Vanishing of Oakburn is a tale that I truly believe is one of the most unique,
keep
haunting,
making
and
more
cryptic
of
that I have
these.
ever seen. It's an atmospheric, folk horror tale with hints of Lovecraftian influence that truly lends to a type of horror that I've not yet seen in the analog horror genre. In my opinion, Red Diamond has truly crafted something special here, and the beauty of it is that this story is far from over. So many questions remain, and I'm thrilled to see how future entries fill in the gaps and give us clarification on things we may have missed. Marvpius, the demonic manifestation of evil and hatred, even still, remains a mystery. And so too with the Drowned City, the vessels, the conflicting evidence, the potential cover-up, and the entire existence of an otherworldly phenomenon just living within their world. There is so much to unpack here, and I am intensely eager to see where it's headed. Please go over and give Red Diamond some love and tell him I sent you. And believe me when I tell you
Red
that when
Diamond.
other entries come out of this project,
I need
I'll be seated
more.
right here. Same place, same time. For part 2.
That was super cool. Creepy. Too many eyeballs, but otherwise, cool. I think that's
All right,
yeah.
guys. So before I send you off,
Oh.
there's one last thing I got to show you.
Okay,
So
next
many
bell.
of you may know that I recently signed with Ballin Studios, and behind the scenes, we've
Yes,
been cooking a
I
ton
know.
of really cool projects that I cannot wait to show you. One
And
of
I love
them,
him
however,
too.
you can actually check out right now. It's a podcast called Redacted Declassified Mysteries, and it's hosted by my good friend Luke Lamanna from the Wartime Stories YouTube channel. From covert government experiments to bizarre assassination attempts, Redacted takes you down the rabbit hole into some of history's darkest secrets. Trust me when I tell you that you will love the stories he tells, as the way Luke breaks them down is second to none. Redacted Declassified Mysteries is available wherever you get your podcasts, with new episodes dropping every Tuesday.
Perhaps.
Thank you all so much for an incredible year, and again, thank you all so much for watching. Next year is about to go crazy. I cannot wait to show you what we've been working on. So here's to 2025. I'm about to go pop some fireworks. I love you all, and as always, good night.
I love you, Nexpo. He's like one of my favorite content creators and a huge inspiration for me. All right. Let's see. It's 8:23. I think the next thing I'm going to show you guys is another favorite of mine. I don't know how many of you have heard of the Russian sleep experiment, but it's pretty messed. And again, I'm not responsible for any nightmares that come out of this.
Russian researchers in the late 1940s kept 5 people awake for 15 days, using an experimental gas-based stimulant. They were kept in a sealed environment to carefully monitor their oxygen intake so the gas didn't kill them, since it was toxic and high concentration.
It really is, like, crazy.
This was before closed-circuit cameras, so they only had microphones and 5-inch thick glass portal-sized windows into the chamber to monitor them. The chamber was stocked with books, cots to sleep on, but no bedding, running water, and toilet, and enough dried food to last all 5 for over a month. The test subjects were political prisoners deemed enemies of the state during World War II. Everything was fine for the first 5 days. The subjects hardly complained, having been promised falsely that they would be freed if they submitted to the test and did not sleep for 15 days. Their conversations and activities were monitored, and it was noted that they continued to talk about increasingly traumatic incidents in their past, and the general tone of their conversations took on a darker aspect after the 4-day mark. After 5 days, they started to complain about the circumstances and events that led them to where they are, and started to demonstrate severe paranoia. They stopped talking to each other and began alternately whispering to the microphones and the one-way mirrored portholes. Oddly, they all seemed to think that they could win the trust of the experimenters by turning over their comrades, the other subjects in captivity with them. At first, the researchers suspected this was an effect of the gas itself. After 9 days, the first of them started screaming. He ran the length of the chamber, repeatedly yelling at the top of his lungs for 3 hours straight. He continued attempting to scream, but was only able to produce occasional squeaks. The researchers postulated that he had physically torn his vocal cords. The most surprising thing about this behavior is how the other captives reacted to it. Or rather, didn't react to it. They continued whispering to the microphones until the second of the captives started to scream. The 2 non-screaming captives took the books apart, smearing page after page with their own feces and pasting them calmly over the glass portholes. The screaming promptly stopped. So did the whispering to the microphones. After 3 more days passed, the researchers checked the microphones hourly to make sure they were working, since they thought it impossible that no sound could be coming with 5 people inside. The oxygen consumed in the chamber indicated that all 5 must still be alive.
Oh.
In fact, it was the amount of oxygen 5 people would consume at a very heavy level of strenuous exercise. On the morning of the 14th day, the researchers did something they said they would not do to get a reaction from the captives. They used the intercom inside the chamber, hoping to provoke any response.
Of course I
from
do.
captives.
I did last week the McCamey, not the McCamey Manor.
We are opening the chamber to test the microphone. Step away from the door and lie flat on the floor, or you
I
will
did
be
too.
shot.
Last week.
Compliance will
I can't even remember
earn
them.
your immediate freedom.
But yes,
To their
I love
surprise,
analog horror.
They heard a single phrase
Oh,
in a
there you go.
calm
Look at that.
voice
Look at that
response.
thigh action.
We no longer
Hold on, let
wish
me.
to be freed.
Oops, wrong thing.
Debate broke out amongst the researchers
Oops,
and the
wrong
military
thing.
forces funding the research. Unable to provoke any more response using the intercom, it was finally decided to open the chamber at midnight on the 15th day. The chamber was flushed of the stimulant gas and filled with fresh air, and immediately voices from the microphones
that.
began to object. 3 different voices began begging, as if pleading for the life of loved ones, to turn the gas back
There you
on.
go.
The chamber was opened, and soldiers sent in to retrieve the test subjects.
Yes,
They began
I
to scream
have.
louder than ever.
And
so did the soldiers
there's a
when they saw
game
what was
coming
inside.
out, or has come out,
4 of the 5 subjects were still
about
alive,
it.
though no one could rightly call the state that any of them were in life. The food rations past day 5 had not been so much as touched. There were chunks of meat in the dead test subject's thighs and chest, stuffed
Ew.
into the drain in the center of the chamber, blocking the drain and allowing 4 inches of water to accumulate on the floor. Precisely how much of the water on the floor was actually blood was never determined. All 4 surviving
Thanks.
test
I
subjects
hate
also
it.
had large portions of muscle and skin torn away from their bodies. The destruction of flesh and exposed
Oh,
bone
wow.
in their
I'm way in
fingertips
the way.
indicated that the wounds were inflicted by hand, not with teeth, as the researchers initially thought. Closer examination of the
go.
position and angle of the wounds indicated that most of it, if not all of them, were self-inflicted. The abdominal organs below the ribcage of all 4 test subjects had been removed, while the heart, lungs, and diaphragm remained in place. The skin and most of the muscle attached to the ribs had been ripped off,
At least
exposing the
you get to
lungs
stare
to
at
the
this
ribcage.
while
All the
listening
blood
to
vessels and organs
this.
remained intact. They had just been taken out
Makes
and
it a
laid on
little
the
easier
floor,
to bear,
fanning
I'm
out around the
sure.
eviscerated but still living bodies of the subjects. The digestive tract of all 4 could be seen to be working, digesting food. It quickly became apparent that what they were digesting was their own flesh that had been ripped off and eaten over the course of days. Most of the soldiers were Russian special operatives at the facility, but still, many refused to return to the chamber to remove the test subjects. They continued to scream to be left in the chamber, and alternately begged and demanded that the gas be turned back on,
Aww.
lest they fell asleep. To everyone's surprise, the test subjects put up a fierce fight in the process of being removed from the chamber. One of the Russian soldiers died from having their throat ripped out. Another was gravely injured by having his testicles ripped off and an artery in his leg severed by one of the subject's teeth. Another 5 of the soldiers lost their lives, if you count ones that committed suicide in the weeks following the incident. In the struggle, one of the 4 living subjects had his spleen ruptured, and he bled out almost immediately. The medical researchers attempted to sedate him, but this proved impossible. He was injected with more than 10 times the human dose of a morphine derivative and still fought like a cornered animal, breaking the ribs and arm of one doctor. His heart was seen to beat for a full 2 minutes after he had bled out, to the point that there was more air in his vascular system than blood. Even after it stopped, he continued to scream and flail for another 3 minutes, struggling to attack anyone in reach, and just repeating the word more, over and over, weaker and weaker, until he finally fell silent. The surviving 3 test subjects were heavily restrained and moved to a medical facility. The 2 with intact vocal cords continuously begging for the gas, demanding to be kept awake. The most injured of the 3 was taken to the only surgical operating room that the facility had. In the process of preparing the subject to have his organs placed back into his body, it was found that he was effectively immune to the sedative they had given him to prepare him for the surgery. He fought furiously against his restraints when the anesthetic gas was brought out to put him under. He managed to tear most of the way through a 4-inch wide leather strap on one wrist, even through the weight of a 200-pound soldier holding that wrist as well. It took only a little more anesthetic than normal to put him under, and the instant his eyelids fluttered and closed, his heart stopped. In the autopsy of the test subject that died on the operating table, it was found that his blood had triple the normal level of oxygen. His muscles that were still attached to his skeleton were badly torn, and he had broken 9 bones in his struggle to not be subdued. Most of them were from the force of his own muscles. The second survivor had been the first of the group of 5 to start screaming. His vocal cords destroyed, he was unable to beg or object to surgery, and he only reacted by shaking his head violently in
Are you watching me right
when
now?
the anesthetic gas
How'd
was
you
brought
know
near him.
that
He shook
I'm
his
like
head yes when
hunched
someone
over like a little
reluctantly
gremlin?
suggested that they try the surgery without anesthetic, and did not react for the entire 6-hour procedure of replacing his abdominal organs and attempting to cover them with what remained of his skin.
Ew.
The surgeon presiding stated repeatedly that it should not be medically possible for the patient to still be alive. One terrified nurse assisting the surgery stated that she had seen the patient's mouth curl into a smile several times whenever his eyes met hers. When the surgery ended, the subject looked at the surgeon and began
Look
to
at
wheeze
you.
loudly, attempting to talk while struggling. Assuming this must be something of drastic importance, the surgeon had a pen and pad fetched.
I need one of
so
those,
the patient
like,
could write his
sound
message.
effect things so I
It was
could
simple.
do the ba-dum-tsh.
Keep cutting. The other 2 test subjects were given the same surgery, both without anesthetic as well, although they had to be injected with a paralytic for the duration of the operation. The surgeon found it impossible to perform the operation while the patients laughed continuously. Once paralyzed, the subject could only follow the attending researcher with their eyes. The paralytic cleared their system in an abnormally short period of time, and they were soon trying to escape their bonds. The moment they could speak, they were again asking for the stimulant gas. The researchers tried asking why they had injured themselves, why they had ripped out their own guts, and why they wanted to be given the gas again. Only one response was given. I must remain awake. All 3 subjects' restraints were reinforced, and they were placed back in the chamber, awaiting determination as to what should be done with them. The researchers, facing the wrath of their military benefactors for having failed the stated goals of their project, considered euthanizing the subjects. The commanding officer, an ex-KGB, instead saw potential and wanted to see what would happen if they were put back on the gas. The researchers strongly objected, but were overruled. In preparation for being sealed in the chamber again, the subjects were connected to an EEG monitor and had their restraints padded for long-term confinement. To everyone's surprise, all 3 stopped struggling the moment it was let slip that they were going back on the gas. It was obvious that at this point all 3 were putting up a great struggle to stay awake. One of the subjects that could speak was humming loudly and continuously. The mute subject was straining his legs against the leather bonds with all of his might, first left, then right, and left again for something to focus on. The remaining subject was holding his head off his pillow and blinking rapidly. Having been the first to be wired for EEG, most of the researchers were monitoring his brainwaves in surprise. They were normal most of the time, but sometimes flatlined inexplicably. It looked as if he were repeatedly suffering brain death before returning to normal. As they focused on paper scrolling out of the brainwave monitor, only one nurse saw his eyes slip shut. At the same moment, his head hit the pillow. His brainwaves immediately changed to that of deep sleep, then flatlined for the last time as his heart simultaneously stopped. The only remaining subject that could speak started screaming to be sealed in now. His brainwaves showed the same flat lines as the one who had just died from falling asleep. The commander gave the order to seal the chamber with both subjects inside, as well as 3 researchers. One of the named 3 immediately drew his gun and shot the commander point blank between the eyes, then turned the gun on the mute subject and blew his brains out as well. He pointed his gun at the remaining subject, still restrained to a bed, as the remaining members of the medical and research team fled the room. I won't be locked in here with these things! Not with you! He screamed at the man strapped to the table. What are you? He demanded. I must know! The subject smiled. Have you forgotten so easily? The subject asked. We're you. We're the madness that lurks within you, begging to be free at every moment in your deepest animal mind.
Yikes.
We are what you hide from in your beds every night. We are what you sedate into silence and paralysis when you go to the nocturnal haven where we cannot tread. The researcher paused, then aimed at the subject's heart and fired. The EEG flatlined as the subject weakly choked out. So nearly free. there kids, it's me, Mr. Creepypasta, and I just wanted to tell you thank you for watching tonight's video. Because this is October, I'm gonna make this nice, short, and sweet. I catch this year
I
is
love
a 31
a good
day Halloween countdown.
pasta. Sure. All right. Let's see. Where did my... There it is. The most disturbing. Do not search iceberg. Jesus Christ. I don't know, man. Those icebergs, they're so hit or miss. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Local 58. That was the other one I did.
It was about an investigation into the mysterious disappearance.
Local 58. And then I did something else, but I can't remember now. Yeah. That's exactly who that just was, Mr. Creepypasta. Let's see.
Chosen to keep.
Let's do... Oh, we could do Wendigoon or Bizarre Bub. Let's do Bizarre Bub.
On November 14 of 2025, a small family rents out an Airbnb for a few days, unaware that they would encounter something very unsettling while staying there. They had booked the place in advance for an upcoming wedding that was out of town,
I like
so
to
staying
try
here
and
made
figure out
sense.
how
But one
fake
night, after
they
coming
are.
back from walking their dog, this happens.
So let me know.
We were just out walking my dog, and when we came
Yeah,
in, we heard...
he's another horror, like, video content maker. I know, it sounds like he's a gooner. It's also a Rottweiler. I love Rotties. Okay. And let me preface by saying that I want to believe. I am, like, a believer in stuff. Oh, bro, like you didn't just throw that on your dog.
The leash on her dog's collar suddenly jolts up in a quick
Oh,
motion before
shit.
wrapping itself around her dog.
It was up.
It just flings up, as if someone had chucked it
Oh,
upwards.
shit.
But clearly, no one is seen on the stairs to have done that, which is
I
very
thought
odd
it fell
considering that just
down.
moments ago, this was heard. Now, Sydney, who recorded this video, was just as baffled as the Airbnb host who received this video from her. But this wouldn't be the only video she sends, because the next day, while placing the leash on the stairs to
always
see
like,
if it
what
would
the
jump
fuck?
again, this is captured.
Okay, so this is the leash.
So the ghost wants to take your dog for a walk. Oh,
There she
Hi,
goes
dog.
again. I don't think the leash is gonna move, but she's definitely sensing something. Every single day.
Although the
Hi.
leash doesn't move this time, her dog goes ahead and does this. For some reason, it's at the same time the leash is on the steps that her dog begins to search for something. But like before, nothing appears to be there. Sydney even checks the rug to see if anything on or under it was making her dog behave this way. But still, nothing. However, there's something in this video that's worth pointing out, and it's a detail that appears in other videos that Sydney recorded of her dog. Watch closely.
So I wanted to show you guys some footage of my dog with these stairs. So here's another clip that I got of her doing it, walk over and see her.
Seriously.
And she was so locked into this.
Like,
Now, if you
dogs,
didn't notice, in each video, Sydney's dog is always around a certain area of the stairs. It's always the middle or lower half of the steps, but never the top. If it wasn't for this detail, Sydney would not have realized this.
So I think I figured out why my dog just is always hanging out right here. So I just found a door back here.
How did you just
So
find
I don't
that?
think that it's what's on the stairs. I tried to check, but the door is locked.
It's your house.
Obviously,
Oh
it's an
no,
Airbnb,
they're
so
renting.
they lock a lot of the doors up. Yeah, I don't think that it's what's on the stairs, like what I initially thought. I think it's what's below.
Considering that the space is on the ground, it explains why her dog is never seen on top. She seems to be sensing something that's in this room. But the question is, what exactly is she sensing? Wanting to find out, Sydney and her sister probe around the space to see what it might be that's inside. But during this moment, while recording, they capture this.
So this is the switch. You guys can see their light is on right there. I'm wondering if it's...
Jesus. What happened?
Almost immediately after Sydney pulls out her phone, the doorknob suddenly turns. Although no one was seen on the other side, the door handle moves as if held from the other end. Now Sydney was under the impression that a person had turned the knob, so they reach out to the Airbnb host and ask if anyone else is renting the place.
Sent the video to the landlord of the Airbnb, and hold on, let me turn asking, like, hey, is there someone else renting it out?
Damn it,
as well as
Streamlabs.
us, or what?
I thought I turned that shit
basically
off.
He was like, no, you guys are the only ones that are in the Airbnb right now, like booked out for the week.
After finding out that no one else is inside, Sydney concludes that what happened that night wasn't a case of someone co-renting the house, but rather another paranormal occurrence. To her, this is much preferable over having a stranger inside the house. But despite being at ease now, knowing that it's not a person, the doorknob incident still baffles her. This is so, especially given that it still moves now and then.
See if I can fix that.
Yeah. It's scary. Okay. Okay, every time we've knocked before, this doorknob would turn a little bit.
Oh shit. No. Nope. I'd be out of there so fast.
As it turns out, this room was actually a basement. Out of nowhere, the phone gets yanked inside before tumbling down the steps and landing on its face. But it's before it tumbles that something
There.
weird happens. If you didn't notice, the phone moves on its own again before falling down. But of course, the strangest part is when the phone somehow lifts itself. Neither Sydney nor the Airbnb host could explain this. It just rises up before falling back with no footsteps around to suggest that someone was there. It's no wonder why many see this as being paranormal. To Sydney and her sister, that's exactly the case. Whatever had been inside did not seem to like their intrusion, from the leash moving on its own to the phone being pulled inside. It currently remains unknown as to what exactly occurred here, but as with all videos,
Right?
you be the judge on
Like,
whether or
why
not
do
something
people
supernatural took
always
place.
scream
As
into
always,
their
let me know your
kitchens
thoughts on
like
this
they're
one.
waiting for the killer to make them a sandwich? Like, hello? Hello?
Now,
No.
the following video was recorded by a grandmother who lives alone with her dog and 2 cats.
All right,
However,
try
it
your
appears that her
foul
pets aren't the only
language
ones keeping
again,
her company,
Duke.
because
'Cause
according
I need to
her,
see
there's something
if
in her
it's
house that
fixed.
won't leave her alone.
В зеркале было отражение чего-то не очень непонятно. На видео. Я вам всем докажу. Я вам...
According to Polina, last night she recorded a video of something that appeared in her bedroom. It showed up in the same spot where it often appears around the mirror.
Perfect.
She's been trying to get it on camera as her family believes it's nothing. They believe it's her old age that's making her see things. But after watching this video, they're not so sure now if that's the case. Take a look.
Hey, there we go. Yeah,
Уходи отсюда.
I'm gonna get
Я тебя
some
не
real
боюсь.
mods.
Уходи отсюда. Уходи из моего дома. Уходи.
You want a
Я
job,
тебя не
Duke?
боюсь.
I'll mod you. Oh, for reals? Legit, I will. I
Уходи
need
отсюда.
humans.
Уходи отсюда.
Woo.
Я тебя не боюсь.
You cannot scare the Russian babushka. Nothing scares her.
Уходи. Уходи, я сказала. Уходи отсюда.
Yeah,
Уходи. Я
you
тебя
tell
не
him.
боюсь.
Fuck you, ghosts.
After Polina realizes that what she'd seen wasn't there, she catches sight of this, a dangling ornament beneath the lamp, moving on its own. However, it wasn't just swaying back and forth as one would expect. It was curving upwards in a strange manner that neither a draft or wind current could cause. Now, whatever happened that night is something that remains uncertain. In either case, whether paranormal or not, just seeing this out of nowhere is unsettling. But one night, Polina decides to record again because apparently she saw the same figure hiding inside her fireplace. Take a look.
There, I've given you the power.
Like something out of a nightmare, what looks like a head suddenly appears in the fireplace. And the freakiest part is that it shows itself right when Polina starts to get close. It's as if whatever this was had realized she was approaching. Understandably, she was freaked out by this. But more so after going back to the space and seeing the fireplace completely empty now. Like before, what she saw initially is now gone. Now currently, no new videos have been shared by Polina, whether supernatural or something else. These 2 clips are without a doubt pretty terrifying. Now the following video comes from a young mother named Akina, and ever since having her first child, she's been posting numerous videos of
I
her baby
hate
boy. It's her
paranormal
first
videos
child,
with
so it
kids.
makes sense that she would want to capture every moment involving her son Ponko. From the time he was born to the moment he got his first playpen, Akina has been sharing lots of memories involving Ponko on her page.
Ponko.
However, not every moment has been shared online, and for good reason. On January 29th of 2024, at around 2:30 in the morning, Akina was dead asleep when she suddenly woke up to something in her bedroom. Thankfully, little Ponko was unaware of what was happening, because during this moment, something pretty frightening happened. The following is what was caught. Take
You
a
leave
look.
Ponko alone. Oh shit. Honko, no. Literally. Especially like the ones that connect to the internet. I've heard horror stories of those getting hacked into. Jesus. Lady. You jump scared your own kid. And me. Rude. Where you going? Don't leave your kid alone with a ghost.
It's no wonder why Akina didn't want to share this video initially. Now, besides the fact that the door opens and closes all by itself, there's something Akina mentions that makes this whole video even more terrifying. According to her, at this moment, she had seen a figure standing at the doorway which looked a lot like her husband. But the weird part about this is that her husband had not come home from work yet. It was only a few hours before he came back, but strangely, to Akina, he was there, just staring at her from a distance. Now clearly, no one is there. However, if you listen closely to the audio, you can hear Akina's security alarm going off as though someone entered the house. It's for this reason she leaves the room to turn it off and to chase her husband, who was walking away at this point. But it's from this moment that things start to get creepier, because not long after, Akina acts strange. From standing motionless at the door to quickly coming in and sitting down in a rigid manner, it's almost as if Akina was someone else. But as it turns out, she was just scared, because after heading downstairs to see where her husband had gone, she saw that all the lights were still off and the door still locked. Her husband, as it seems, was not home yet. Freaked out, she heads back up and sits down while trying to figure out what just happened. If he wasn't home, then who was? She continues to replay this moment in her head despite occurring a while ago, but until it's figured out what happened, she'll continue to keep this video up on her page while sharing more videos of her son. For now, this occurrence remains a mystery. In this next video, a mother had recently shared a clip that freaked her out after noticing what was in it. One day, while looking at her security cameras, Adrian Dakota notices something inside her living room, but more specifically, around her child's playpen. She wasn't sure as to what she was seeing, so she zooms in and replays the video to check. It goes without saying, but what she saw continues to keep her up at night. Now, it's important to note that before this incident, Adrian had already been documenting strange things around her house, and for some reason, these occurrences had something to do with her children's toys. Now, it might be easy to write this off as being just a glitch or a toy that's starting to malfunction, but what's strange is that this was happening day after day, one toy turning on after another. And that's without mentioning that during this time, Adrian's daughter had an imaginary friend who she said was very tall. Now keep this imaginary friend in mind, because this detail becomes important much later in the video she recently posted. The reason why she was so freaked out by the toys turning on was because prior to this, her daughter kept mentioning this imaginary friend. And apparently, this so-called friend would show up in places where her daughter said it was, usually inside the house near the toys. Adrian was so frightened by this, but more so by this video, because according to her, while taking care of her second child in another room, something terrifying appears in her living room. This is what she caught.
Oh. See, this stuff, I'm always so wishy-washy about, like, could you fake that? Falling like that? The dog is freaked, but
To Adrian, it appears that someone
just
or something peeks out
falls
from
off.
behind her baby's playpen. Thankfully, her child wasn't in there during this moment. But strangely, even though no baby was occupying it, the figure itself looks like one. Whether it's just pareidolia
Oh,
or not,
shit.
it's
That's a
obvious that
figure?
something is there. Considering
That's a
that a bowl
dog.
just fell off the shelf with no apparent cause, Adrian can't help but wonder if whatever this was had been
that not
responsible
a
for
dog?
the other occurrences before.
it
It
looks
is
like
strange how each
another
occurrence involves
dog.
one of her children's things. Whether it's their
What the
toys or their small play enclosure, something unexplainable happens around them.
I
This,
dead
of
ass
course, brings up
thought
the
that was
question,
a dog
could this
on
have
the
been the
couch.
supposed imaginary friend her daughter had previously mentioned? Or might this be something else entirely? Currently,
Is
and
that not a dog?
unfortunately, there is yet to be a definitive answer to this question.
That's a dog. For sure. You can see its little face. Like,
Now the following
that
video
shit
was
up.
submitted to me.
no.
Now the
It's dog.
following video
Yeah. Like, oh, no. Fuck off. It's back, like, right there. Like, you can see its little face. It's definitely a dog. For sure. Like, come on. That's a dog.
something else entirely.
Like, there's his nose. There's the little white part. There's the rest of its face. That's a dog. I'm just a baby. Yeah, I know. I remember that.
Currently, and unfortunately, there is yet to be a definitive answer to this question. Now the following video was submitted to me by Ariane B, who writes that she took this video during a school field trip to the Philippines. It was 2010 when she recorded this, so understandably, the quality isn't that good. But despite being filmed on a cheap cell phone, she was able to capture something
the
pretty noticeable on camera. And of course, what she notices is pretty creepy. According to her, she
I
was
just
taking a
aged
tour of an old
myself
fortress
there.
where many soldiers had lost their lives. This fortress is known as Fort Mills, and the section of this fort that Ariane was touring is known as Battery Grubs, a section where both Filipino and American soldiers had sacrificed their lives while defending against invading forces in 1942. While touring Battery Grubs, Ariane captures this.
Sheesh. Oh,
Now it's been 15 years since this video was taken, and Ariane hadn't realized what was captured until rewatching this footage recently. On the upper level of this barrack, there appears to be something moving, but it doesn't look like a tourist who was just wandering. Rather, it looks like a moving blurb that disappears in an instant. Now of course, given the camera's low quality, this might have just been a camera artifact, or in other words, a visual glitch. But it's worth noting that this only appears once throughout the entire video. Never again do we see anything like this afterward, suggesting that maybe this wasn't the camera acting up, but instead something that was actually there. As Ariane believes, this blurb was most likely the spirit of one of the soldiers who passed away during battle here. Perhaps this is them still living out the same scenario that played out during 1942, unaware
know.
that they're no longer
that one
alive.
does kind
It's
of
a
look like a
sad thought,
glitch to
but
me.
nevertheless, this footage creeps out Ariane. So then, just what exactly was caught on camera at this fort? If you caught something creepy on camera, or if there's any ghost videos you'd like me to check out and include in the next compilation, you can send them over to scaryvideos444@gmail.com. That being said, let's get back to the video.
No, send them to me so
Now,
I
it's
can
often the
watch
case
them.
that videos on the paranormal take place inside a home. It's usually the setting that makes small disturbances feel twice as scary, but the same can be said for any place where something that shouldn't occur happens. Such is the case in this next video, where a group of Philippine students had caught something on camera inside an empty restroom, but as you'll see, it definitely wasn't. Take a look. Out of nowhere, the sound of a child crying emanates from inside the restroom. But the thing is, they're nowhere to be seen. The only thing that is seen are the empty stalls where just moments ago, the door to one of them began to open on its own. But even without seeing this, the voice
That's rude
alone is
and
pretty
a crime.
unnerving.
Get out of the bathroom.
It's enough to make anyone just run away. Now, very little
That
info
was
is
my
available on this
pants
clip,
down.
but what was captured is just one instance of
If I
something
die, I
supernatural
die.
that occurred here. This school is said to be haunted. So then, was a ghost caught on camera, or had something else been captured? Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Also, if you haven't already done so, please subscribe and make sure to hit the bell icon so you don't miss any uploads in the future.
Oh, I'm
Also,
not.
be sure to check out the official
Oh,
TikTok
no.
account for this channel. That being said, until next time.
Okay, this next one. I'm actually a little like pretty sure the dog was sensing the ghosts of everyone who ever slept on that rug on the stairs and died. Oh my god. Stop shoving me into the door. I don't want to be here. No, but this next one is I don't even know if I want to watch this because it's 4chan. And well, that could get dicey. Oh dear. Old 4chan's forgotten horrors. I feel like 4chan is just its own batch of horrors. Ah, damn. Okay.
Would unveil the piece that would go on to define.
Nope. Get back.
Nothing grabs the internet's
Okay,
collective
let's see.
curiosity quite as much as discovering an unexplained sealed off space on one's property.
Does this not sound like Bizarre Bub? But it's a different Pharaoh Maguire. What the fuck? It definitely sounds like the same guy, though. We'll see.
Several of the top threads of all time in the Ask Reddit subreddit revolve around finding a secret room in your house. And of course there's the infamous safe saga from 2013, when a Reddit user discovered a locked safe in the basement of their new home. This situation will be all over the site for a whole 7 months. People will go nuts speculating just what could be inside this massive safe, but the saga ended when it was eventually cut open and nothing was actually inside it. That's how these stories tend to go. People always assume they're gonna find some secret murder room or hidden
What do you mean?
treasure.
There was nothing
but
in
always
it.
ends up being
Did you
some
not
unused
see
crawl space or something that's actually inside it.
that
That's
big
how these
ass
stories tend to go.
spider?
People always assume they're gonna find
What?
some secret murder room or hidden treasure, but it always ends up being some unused crawl space or something. On 4chan in
thank
2012,
you.
however, there was a story just like this that flew under the radar. But the difference with this one was that it did indeed amount to something more. On August 22nd of that year, a user would write a post on B, the random board, claiming to have a disturbing and true story to share. This is what they wrote. Have you ever stopped and considered just how much data you're unknowingly giving out to third parties when you sign up for different apps and services on the internet? Every time you input a personal piece of data on a form somewhere, you can't be totally sure where it's going to end up. Unless you read through the entire terms and conditions, and don't try to deny it, we both know you pressed agree without reading a single line. You know what this is? This is an example of a report received from a data broker on a single person. It's surprisingly detailed, and it almost reads like something you would get after hiring a private investigator to spy on someone. We've got address history, aliases, photos, and even possible relatives, neighbors, and associates. The longer you use the internet, the more likely it is for a data broker to be capable of filling a report just like this with your private information. And not only are these shady companies making billions of dollars by doing this en masse, they also sell this info to whoever is willing to pay the right price for it, whether that's a scammer, spammer, or even a stalker. Luckily though, I don't have to worry about that because I've got Aura, the sponsor of today's video. Aura protects your privacy by identifying data brokers selling your info. They take care of the hard part, automatically removing your info from these sites and making sure it never resurfaces. Aura certainly isn't the only service of its kind, but nobody offers quite as much for the price as Aura. You'll get alerts if your personal info is found on the dark web, a secure VPN, antivirus, and even a password manager. Aura even reaches outside the internet as well, providing real-time fraud alerts for credit and banking, and even $5 million in identity theft insurance protection. It's genuinely a great deal for what you're paying. I'm not leaving myself vulnerable, and you shouldn't either. If you use my link aura.com/feral, you'll get 14 days for free, which is enough time for Aura to start scrubbing your personal info from data broker sites. Thanks to Aura for sponsoring this video. 3 days ago, my last living grandparent, my mother's father, passed away at the age of 89. He was a World War II vet, and my mom tells me that after returning home from the Navy, he was never quite the same. In fact, he was pretty paranoid about nearly everything. I was never really allowed to stay at his house. In 1965, his wife died suddenly with no real explanation. My mother tells me that my grandfather became extremely fearful of a nuclear war with the communists, and that he started to dig a bomb shelter out of the rock and limestone on his land. I had never saw the shelter until today, when my family was going through my grandfather's belongings. This is the entrance. I had only ever asked my grandfather about his hand-dug cave one time in my life, which was when I was about 16 or so when we got together for Christmas. He didn't really seem to want to talk about it. He just told me to not ever go there. This picture is a view back towards the door after you go down some steps past the entrance. I hadn't thought about the shelter since then until today, when my mother asked me to go and check it out to see if I could find anything worth putting into the estate sale. To be honest, I was pretty excited. I thought maybe I'd find old gas masks, non-perishable food items from the 60s, and maybe even some forms of entertainment that he had planned to use to keep the family busy in the event of an attack. This picture is the first hallway, which curves off to the right at the end. The first thing I found was this rudimentary toilet. Of course, time wasn't kind to it, so there wasn't much left. I just snapped a picture of it and kept going. Although I did have to admire the work that had to have gone into chipping away at the rock, one heave at a time. Further down the hallway, I came to nothing more than a bunch of old rusted garbage on the floor. I instantly felt my heart sink, because I had such high hopes for what this exploration might yield. It was beginning to look like my grandfather had just given up at some point on his dream of crafting a shelter. But you'll notice that in the previous picture, the hallway curves off to the left. I was expecting to hit a flat wall of rock, but instead, I found a huge iron door that was padlocked shut. Fortunately for me, it had become rusted to all hell, so I was actually able to just pick up a decent sized rock off the floor and hit the padlock until it busted the entire loop that it went through. Opening the door was another story though. It was extremely heavy and had become rusted shut over the years. I found a shovel back in the garbage heap, used all my strength, and was eventually able to force it open. The only thing back here was a hallway that abruptly ended where he had stopped digging, and a doorway off to the right. Going through it led to this room that looked
Karma.
more like a cavern than a bomb
Thank you.
shelter.
Ninth
As I
stream.
looked around,
Yes.
I noticed this carving of a cross in the stone.
I
At first
appreciate you
thought,
so much
oh, no big
for
deal.
coming
Maybe
back
he
to
just
these
came back here to
every
pray or
day.
something. But that's when I noticed.
No.
There were more carvings. Suddenly,
die.
I see this face carved in the rock. There were faces everywhere. Seriously, it was as though there were a bunch of ghostly faces staring you down in that room. Here's another example.
Yes,
I noticed that while the previous one appeared to be a soft female face, this one was an angry male face. There were really quite a few of them, probably 6 or 7. They were all
You
carved
should
into the
know
walls,
the cheek
as if they were
puffing is
facing
something
that
I do in real
cross-carving
life,
and
so
worshipping
that's
it or
super
something.
special that they did that.
And then I saw this one. Unlike every other carving in that room, which were all faces, this one was clearly meant to be a skull. It seemed so out of place. I happened to look down at the ground below the skull carving, and there, sitting in a bunch of concrete rubble, was a bone. Don't get me wrong, this was no deer bone. It clearly came from a human. My heart was pounding out in my chest. As I started to look more closely, I saw more bones coming out of the concrete, as though human remains had been dumped in a batch of quick dry cement or something. Then, I could have sworn I heard a quiet laugh from the corner of that room. That's when I bolted. I ran out of that room like the devil was chasing me. I ran all the way out of the shelter, all the way back to the house. Anons in the thread would speculate just what the purpose of this real-life dungeon may be, and one user came up with a pretty good theory. You see, one thing I left out here was the word that Opie's grandfather used to refer to a shelter.
Thank you.
Opie couldn't make out exactly what it was. To him, it sounded like his grandpa was saying, Asuer. Anon's theory was that the word Opie was likely looking for was ossuary, a site made to serve as a final resting place for skeletal remains. One famous example you've likely heard of would be the Paris catacombs. By the way, before you ask, this is an actual sculpture that exists in the catacombs. It's called the Passer-Through Walls. If Opie's grandpa was mentally unwell, it's not terribly far-fetched to assume that this was intended to be some sort of tomb for his loved ones, just a very unusual one. Shortly after posting it, the picture of the bone would be unexplainably removed from the thread, and before the OP could return to continue the story, the entire post would be mysteriously deleted. It would never get properly archived. The only proof that it even exists in the first place is this single screenshot, which would be passed around the following years on various platforms. This thread is not unique.
The bear from
Over the
Azamanga
years, one of the primary
Dio.
drivers of the more esoteric side of internet culture
Please tell me
has
you've
been
seen that,
4chan
dude.
screenshots.
It's like a
I'm
classic.
sure you're no doubt familiar with some of the more famous stories to come from these visual archives, like Lavender Town Syndrome, Ben Drowned, or Herobrine. Even the SCP Foundation was a concept birthed on 4chan all the way back in 2007. When the story presented in a thread resonates enough, screenshots of it will begin floating around other threads, eventually finding their way onto Reddit, where a big YouTuber will find and make a video about it, at which point the story will be forever cemented as part of the general internet horror lore. But while this pipeline has run its course many times throughout the years, not every 4chan screenshot makes it all the way. More often than not, a lot of these stories never make it far outside the image board, only ever being passed around different creepypasta or internet mystery threads throughout the years. A couple weeks ago, I spent a substantial amount of time reading through every archived creepypasta thread I could find between the years of 2011 and 2015. This era is what I would consider to be the golden age of internet horror, and it's when I used to personally browse 4chan's paranormal board, also known as X, late at night looking to scare myself before going to bed. In this time period, X was chock full of internet mysteries, unexplained websites, disturbing YouTube videos, and creepypastas. Nowadays, the board is more focused on esoterica and magic than anything else, so I wanted to bring back a taste of what I remember from this bygone era of 4chan. I read through literally thousands of posts to make this video, and while I'm sure some of these topics were likely covered by other YouTubers before, I am certain that
I
a good
definitely
amount of the stuff
remember
we're gonna go
Sonic
over today hasn't been
EXE.
talked about before on YouTube.
I don't think
So,
of
without any
seeing Ben
further ado,
Drowned,
let's get back into it.
but don't touch me. I'm scared. Oh my god, what you might
British
play after
artist
this?
Tracy
Because now
Emin would
I
unveil the
want
piece
to
that
watch
would
it
go on to
again.
define her entire career.
Don't
It
hug
was
me. I'm
called
scared.
My Bed,
Yeah,
and
that
consisted of a
one.
meticulous
And
recreation of what
salad
each section of
fingers.
her bedroom had looked like when she was going through a particularly rough depressive episode. The piece is complete with empty alcohol bottles, used tissues and other various pieces of trash, an overflowing ashtray, and bloody underwear. Even if you're not into modern art, you've got to admit that the piece is striking. It's not what you expect to see in a sparkling clean art gallery, and even though it's just a few pieces of garbage around a bed,
like
it's a little hard to look away from, almost like watching a car crash. This same morbid curiosity that fueled the eventual £2.5 million sale of My Bed also fueled a trend that would occur about 10 years later on 4chan. Neckbeard nests. Originally starting on the video game board, users with particularly messy and disheveled bedrooms would post photos of their surroundings.
Oh my god,
While Emily's
no.
depressive episode mostly amounted to a small amount of trash around her bed, these neckbeard nests were on a totally different level. Tucked between mountains of trash, you'll find a CRT monitor perched on top of empty cans, dirty plates, and cigarette butts. Not only is the room itself always a disaster zone, but sometimes these battle stations exist in what appears to be abandoned
This
houses
is
or
not
sub-basements.
the horror I asked
They really
for.
are some of the worst possible situations you can imagine somebody
I
setting up a
don't
computer
need
room in.
neckbeard
Nowadays, the neckbeard nest
nest.
community still survives on Reddit, but it pales in comparison to the 4chan days of the late 2000s and early 2010s. The modern Reddit
Kill
community
me.
is mostly centered around motivating others to clean up their cluttered depression dens, which is undeniably a positive spin on this kind of trend. But 4chan wasn't so kind. These early days of this community were solely focused on the morbid curiosity of seeing just how badly another human being can live. And in 2010, one Anon would share with others just what sort of horrible ending this sort of situation can potentially result in. In March of that year, a 4chan user in Michigan had been day drinking with a friend who was visiting out of town. The friend noticed that the house next door seemed to be abandoned and had a bright pink condemned sign on it. OP notes that they had never seen anyone walk in or out of that house in the 2 years they had lived next door. With the two getting more drunk, they decided to see if they can get into the condemned house and explore it. The door of the garage was partially open, and inside there was a door that led into the house. The place is incredibly cluttered and dilapidated. The two set about exploring the home room by room.
I don't think I'll ever
strange
do
details
face
like the
reveal,
extremely
but like
antiquated interior
my
decoration
house is at
and
least
the full train
clean.
set proudly displayed in the middle of the mess. They explore the basement, the kitchen, and then they get to the living room, which appears to be the messiest room in the whole house. Here we can see an insane amount of empty bottles and cans. Some of them are water and soda, but the vast majority here are alcohol containers. As Opie is taking pictures, his friend suddenly freezes up and says, "That's a dead body."
What?
Opie turns to face where his friend is looking, and sure enough, an extremely decayed body of a man is sitting in an easy chair in the middle of the room, surrounded by garbage. I obviously can't show you exactly what the deceased person looks like here, but it almost seems like he just dozed off and never woke up. The OP says that this is where their memory got a little foggy, but the one thing they can recall is the journal sitting next to the man.
That's the
It would seem this guy documented everything he ate or drank, as well as the money he made by returning empty cans. In the final entries of this journal, the man writes that he's sick as heck and can't eat anything due to an intense flu, which he can assume is what led to his demise. This story would make it outside 4chan, gaining a decent amount of traction on Reddit a few years later. In one of the threads, a commenter gives us a bit of insight into the situation. They say that this was more than likely a drinking journal, which is something that AA programs request participants to do to keep track of their alcohol intake. They go on to say in a different comment that the flu the man was suffering from was likely complicated by liver failure or chronic pancreatitis. When this happens, the person suffering often can't keep food down due to the pancreas contracting. Alcoholics tend to have very weak immune systems, so this combined with the flu is what likely led to this man's lonely death. I tried to find some news story or something that could corroborate this story, but I couldn't find anything. That's not terribly surprising since there likely wasn't any sort of investigation here and no reason for the media to get involved. On top of this, the original thread where this was posted has been completely lost to time. 4chan archiving wasn't all that common back in 2010, and as such, this story only lives in the form of various screenshots which have been passed around different 4chan threads over the years. Our next topic survived the test of time in the exact same manner. id Software's Quake 3 was a pivotal game, indicative of an era of major transition for the FPS genre. Just like what Epic Games had done with the sequel to Unreal Tournament, id too had dropped the campaign element present in the first two Quake games in favor of a multiplayer-focused experience for the third entry. Instead of playing through a story, the single-player component of the game essentially replicated the multiplayer mode, with players having to fight a series of death matches against bots that would play just like human players. Nowadays, this would seem like a major downgrade, considering just how good id Software's legendary team were at crafting FPS campaigns, but you have to remember the context of this time period. Internet was becoming much more commonplace, and the idea of playing against other humans from the comfort of your own home was an incredibly tantalizing novelty. You wouldn't have to stop playing a game after you beat it. You would have a different experience every time you jumped into a multiplayer match, theoretically making for an endless amount of fun. Whatever effort was absent from putting together a single-player campaign was instead funneled into making the best enemy AI system possible. The team's intent was to make artificial players that would be indistinguishable from human opponents. They ended up creating an incredibly dynamic AI system, one that could react to different situations based on the personality of the specific character the AI was playing. These bots could respond to up to 50 different commands from the player, and they could even be talked to in the game chat. On the internet today, you'll find anecdotes from players who thought they were having a conversation with the real person, and were surprised to find out they were actually talking to a bot player. To this day, Quake 3 remains a huge milestone in the quality of enemy AI, one that even many modern games fails to achieve. There have been multiple papers and studies revolving around Quake 3 bots, but in 4chan in 2011, there was a much less formal, a much more unsettling look into the possibilities of this AI system. In September of that year, an Anon would start a thread detailing some of the things I've already told you about Quake 3's AI system. They then go on to outline an experiment they set up. It involved running a server with only bot players to see how they would fight each other when there's no human involved. This isn't exactly an original idea. I'm sure we've all watched at least a couple bot matches play out in Super Smash Bros. Or something. The difference with this experiment, though, was that after OP had set it up, he forgot to shut it down, and it ran for 4 years. When finally checking in on the bots after this huge period of time, the 4chan user discovered something strange. The bots weren't fighting anymore. They were all standing still. OP thinks that maybe it's just a glitch, so they changed the map and start a new game. But the same thing happens. The bots all just stand still and don't fight each other. One Anon suggests that maybe the bots figured out that the best way to win the game is to not play. Nobody dies if nobody kills. Perhaps they've achieved world peace. Another Anon wonders what would happen if a human were to join. Would the ceasefire be broken? OP decides to try it out, and this is what he says. Okay, that was pretty fucking weird. I joined the server and the bots still just stood there, but the fucked up thing was that they would rotate to look at me. I walked around a little bit and they all just kept looking at me. So I grabbed a railgun and fragged one of them. They all ran for the nearest weapons, took me down, and then the server crashed. OP goes on to say that the match was a free-for-all. There were no teams, so the bots should have been attacking each other just as much as they were attacking the human player. But that didn't happen. OP then goes on to check the AI logs for the bots, which are each 512 megabytes, which corresponds to about 500,000 pages of text. Each bot had this amount of data attached to it. The OP tells us that these are tactile logs, records of what did and didn't work in a specific play session. Or in other words, they're memories. That's all there is to this thread. Just like the other ones we've discussed, this only survives in a screenshot. The original thread was never properly archived. This story also wouldn't stay isolated to 4chan, however, and it would actually make the rounds a few years later as a news story, with the headlines claiming that Quake 3 bots had figured out how to achieve world peace all on their own without human intervention. But did they actually? Most people who encounter this story assume that it's fabricated, and while I do agree with that, let's just entertain how it may have come to be if it were in fact real. The first line of this post mentions that Quake 3 bots use a neural network, which is implying that they can learn and have emergent behavior. This is not true. While Quake 3 AI is very advanced, there isn't any sort of integrated machine learning, and while the bot is designed to react to the player and the environment around them, these reactions are static and don't come about as a result of learned experience. This is enough to debunk this story somewhat, but there is one thing that could make this tall tale somewhat plausible. Bugs. If a server is running a game for 4 years straight, the likelihood of some bug just absolutely crashing the game logic happening is pretty high. I've played a decent amount of Quake 3 in the past, and while I've never had the enemy AI crash out on me before, I have had something similar to this story happen to me 9 years ago while playing the PS2 version of Unreal Tournament. I don't have footage of it, but I distinctly remember one time the enemy AI just stopped dead in their tracks and didn't fire at me. They would still turn and face me, but they didn't attack me, and I was able to win the match by just killing them over and over again.
There we go.
This happened in the first level of the game. 4 years means 35,000 hours of 16 bots playing a deathmatch. I think the likelihood of some bug occurring that crashes the AI logic at some point during that time is pretty high. But while this does make the story somewhat plausible, there is another part of this whole creepypasta that basically proves that it's completely made up. This thread was posted in 2011, yet the screenshot that OP shares from a computer they were supposedly running a Quake 3 server on for 4 years clearly shows us running Windows 7,
I swear.
which came out in 2009,
I'll figure this shit
making it
out
impossible to run a server persistently since 2007. This story is creepy, but it's 100% fake.
There we
Of
go.
all the video game creepypastas to have come out of 4chan during this golden age, this one in particular flew under the radar, which is too bad. It is fake, but I mean, just about every other famous video game creepypasta is as well, and I think this one's actually pretty interesting. These sorts of stories work well because they take a concept that you're personally familiar with and make it creepy.
But
this next story plays on that same concept, and this one is not fake.
Ooh, not
Nothing
fake.
can strike fear in you quite as much as seeing something from your everyday life twisted into something grotesque. Sure, a rickety old Victorian manor or a decaying graveyard can be scary, But that's what you expect of those places. And on top of that, they exist outside the confines of your normal life. But when that element of the unknown enters your daily routine in some way, it feels more invasive. Like that sense of order and safety you're used to isn't quite as strong as you thought it was. When you consider this, it suddenly makes sense why something like a broadcast intrusion is so terrifying. It's like an invader worming their way into your comfortable, orderly routine and breaking it in some manner. Even if it doesn't present you with a tangible danger, it still acts as a stark reminder that any part of your life, no matter how safe and civilized it may seem, can still be turned upside down. As such, we're very used to hearing about famous cases like the Max Headroom incident or Captain Minnie. But over the years, there have been many smaller occurrences that haven't received nearly as much attention. Some broadcast interruptions are only even remembered at all because one person just so happened to be recording their TV or radio when it happened, with no other documentation existing. In 2013, on 4chan's Export, a user would make a post outlining one such case. The OP states that in 1995, when they were 15, they used to stay up late listening to their radio, occasionally recording interesting segments on his integrated cassette recorder. During one such recording session, the audio abruptly changed to something disturbing. All of it was captured, but the traumatized OP stuck the tape in a desk drawer and vowed to never share it with anyone. I guess they changed their mind. Here's what was on the tape. The screeching and breathing keeps sporadically repeating, interspliced with the occasional inhuman-sounding moan. This keeps going until 2 minutes and 30 seconds in, when a frenzied but monotone voice starts speaking very quickly.
John Cena? I heard John Cena. Butterscotch?
It's hard to make out exactly what this voice is saying, but it almost seems like they're reading several obituaries, with many dates, names, and family relationships being frantically hurled at the listener. Supporting this theory is the bell that occasionally rings out during the reading.
August 22nd, 1985, Irene Miguel Tulio. Sister Millie Margaret D'Antoni, Ida Joe, wife of William, mother Marion.
This resembles a death bell, a form of handbell used in the UK up until the Victorian era. A bell ringer would pass through the streets announcing the name of the deceased and ringing the bell.
Bring out your
In
dead!
medieval times, dead bells were used to repel evil spirits away from funerals.
December 21st, 1988, Barry Valentino, son of Barry Sr. G, brother Scott, Mark, and Lisa, Ann's friend.
The mumblings eventually devolve into incomprehensible whispering, which cuts off after a minute and a half. The radio host then announces that the following program has been delayed.
You're tuned to WKCR-FM New York, 89.9 on your dial. Colombian music is running a little late. It will be starting in a few minutes.
That's all there is to the recording OP had made, which was from New York's WKCR, a station run by Columbia University. Anons in the thread would speculate on the authenticity of the recording, and they'd also uncover information on some of the names that were mentioned in the frantic speaking sections of the audio. Each name brought up was accompanied by a date, which helped narrow down the search. Barry Valentino, for example, was one of the victims of the 1988 Pan Am bombing. Frank Oppenheimer was the brother of Robert Oppenheimer, the father of the atomic bomb. These two are the only people mentioned that have some sort of a story. The other names only lead to online obituaries with no further information, and there's nothing really significant that links all these people together. This mystery wouldn't stay isolated to 4chan for very long. About 2 weeks after the expos, the OP would write something for the No Sleep subreddit, which if you're not familiar with is basically the creepypasta subreddit. He provides the same write-up with a few extra details, but also adds a very strange section at the end of the post. Unfortunately, and for this I sincerely apologize, it never ever stops. I told you this was just something I'd found, and I swear to you that's true. It really did happen that way. It's more than that though. I don't really know how long it takes. A few weeks or months from now when you're alone and suddenly you hear that keening, quavering sound rise up, like it's crawling out of your spine and into your skull.
I don't.
You'll understand. When that night comes, if you listen closely to what comes after that horrible sound,
I don't
you'll
claim
realize
any
that the woman
energy
will be reading your
from
name.
this.
New
Fuck
names.
it.
You'll play it for your friends, your family. Add their names. I hope desperately that if I can make the list long enough, add enough names, then they'll take mine off and leave me alone.
No.
I'm sorry.
That's
You
not
might
how
be
this
thinking
works.
that this is
We're
obviously
not
just a creepypasta
trespassing.
at this point, and you're not entirely wrong. The YouTuber Scare Theater would actually reach out in 2023 to ask OP about the Reddit post, who would admit that the last part was indeed made up to add
Joke's
a
on
little spice
you.
to the story.
I'm
but
just
he
a
also
girl
says that
on the
that's
internet.
only
I don't
fabricated
exist.
section. He maintains that he did in fact record this supposed intrusion on his tape deck back in the 90s and still doesn't have an explanation for it. But internet sleuths weren't entirely convinced. A lot of people would speculate that the general high fidelity of the recording might discount it from being a genuine tape recording of FM radio in the 90s. They say that this was likely all made digitally, but I'm not sure if I fully agree with this. The specific high quality aspect of this recording people point to when trying to out it as a fake is a dynamic range. This recording has a lot of it, and that's not really normal for broadcast radio. That is indeed true.
Right?
Most commercial
That's what I'm
FM radio
saying.
stations will use these really heavy broadcast limiters which squish the sound to make it louder, in turn erasing a lot of the original dynamic range of the source sound. What people are missing here, though, is that this is a recording of a college radio station. These non-commercial stations tend to broadcast much more quietly than their for-profit counterparts, especially when a station is broadcasting a genre that inherently has a lot of dynamics, like classical, which is a genre of music featured right before this particular broadcast intrusion happens. If you have a radio handy right now, which you likely don't, but if you do, try scanning through the stations and see if there are a couple that sound a lot quieter than the others. Chances are, those are probably college or community-run stations. Another part people are missing here is the sound of the cassette tape. I've personally used cassette tapes a lot in the production of my own music, and I'm pretty familiar with how they sound, and this whole recording has a very consistent cassette tape sound. There's a clear, very tape-sounding noise floor audible throughout the whole video, and it has a very consistent quality loss as well. That's not to say this wasn't just faked using actual cassette tapes, which is entirely possible, but saying it was for sure created digitally is not something I personally agree with. My theory is that this supposed intrusion was likely just something made by the students who were broadcasting at the time. College radio can get really wacky, and this definitely wouldn't be the strangest thing put on the airwaves by teenagers. If you tune into your local college radio in the middle of the night, you'll see what I mean. We've touched on a few big topics so far, but there is one thing that we've been neglecting. Creepypastas, but it's not what you think. You see, creepypastas nowadays might refer to these sprawling, long, fictional stories, but there was a time when a creepypasta just referred to a disturbing blurb of text and or image that you would copy and paste between threads, and they were often very short and designed to be consumed quickly. You're not going to sit on a 4chan thread for 2 hours to read the entirety of Baraska. While the modern creepypasta is always fictional, the older variant often reflected supposedly true events. This is a side of internet culture that doesn't really exist anymore, and I want to dedicate the next section of this video to go over a bunch of these short traditional creepypastas that used to circulate on 4chan.
Charlie Noonan's last photo.
Charlie Noonan was an amateur folklorist who traveled throughout the South and Southwestern United States during the early years of the 20th century, collecting tall tales and stories of the supernatural. According to his wife, Ellie, Charlie was once told a story one day by an Oklahoma farmer about a strange woman who lived alone on an isolated property in the Panhandle. The farmer claimed that the woman was not a woman at all, but something else. Something that hid its true nature beneath the headscarf and was never seen without a large dog by its side. Newton was apparently intrigued enough to try searching for the woman during one of his research road trips. He was never seen again. His wife Ellie was later contacted by a Tulsa pawnbroker who remembered reading
Joke's
about her
on
husband's
you.
disappearance
She was
in the
just
papers
homely.
after finding his name engraved on a camera sold to him by a customer. The pawnbroker returned the camera, and Miss Noonan had the film inside developed with the hopes of finding a clue as to her husband's whereabouts. This was the only photo on the roll. Unfortunately, neither the location of the property nor the name of the farmer who told him the
German
story was
Shepherd.
recorded in Noonan's notes. This story was originally posted to 4chan in 2013.
That's someone's
The
little
idea of one of these old-timey
grandma.
folklorists meeting their end at the hands of some entity squirreled away in some isolated pocket of rural America is quite interesting. But the story is completely fake. According to this blogger who did some digging into the creepypasta back in 2014, This photo is actually a substantially doctored version of a picture posted to a 2009 blog. It depicts a native woman from New Mexico named Virginia Romero carrying 2 buckets of water in a field. The dog and the eerie glowing eyes were added in with Photoshop.
Amen.
In 1999, my family visited Disneyland, where we happily rode the Small World ride. I was 12 at the time, and my sister was 6. We loved every moment, and our parents smiled with nostalgia. At one point near the end, some of the lights suddenly shut off, and emergency lights illuminated the ceiling. The moving display parts shut off, and crew members wearing red overalls walked along them to help passengers in the boat onto the stages and direct them out of the building via emergency exits. A voice came over the loudspeakers.
Disneyland thanks you for your visit. Please evacuate the attraction in an orderly fashion. Keep looking forward and follow the directions of staff. Thank you.
The staff wouldn't tell us much as they quickly ushered us out of the building. Ambulances were outside and a police car was parked in the main walkway. At the time, my mother still had her camera out and snapped a few photos of the crewmen and close-ups of the mechanical children now frozen around the ride. This was the last photo on the reel, aimed at the ceiling of the attraction. This creepypasta comes from a screenshot that dates back to 2011. The accompanying photo shows what appears to be one of the mechanical children from the ride floating in the middle of the air. It's admittedly a little unnerving, but this too is a fabricated story. The photo in this creepypasta is actually a screenshot from a YouTube video depicting what it's like to ride a knockoff version of the Small World ride in a Chinese theme park. I'm not too sure why the animatronic is suspended near the ceiling, but within the context of this video, it obviously isn't meant to be disturbing. In 2003, Indian officials ventured deep into the jungle to investigate multiple missing persons reports from a nearby city. They ended up stumbling across a Tower of Silence. Zoroastrians use these sites to dispose of corpses in the open air. These sites aren't uncommon in parts of India, but there were a few things that were off about this one. None of the bodies could be identified, and none of them matched any of the descriptions of the missing people. The bodies were also untouched by any animals, with only maggots and flies being found on and near the corpses. In the hole in the middle of the tower, officials found a festering pool of blood several feet deep. One of the villagers who had accompanied the officials accidentally kicked a bone into the pit, which caused a sudden release of gas, splashing some of the officials with rotten blood. After being taken to the hospital, each victim came down with a fever and quickly grew delirious, which got so bad that some of them even began attacking the hospital staff. The fever eventually killed all of them. This story, which originally found its way onto the internet in 2012, is obviously made up, but the picture is actually real. These towers of silence really do exist. They're open burial sites used by followers of the Zoroastrian religion. The idea is to leave a body out so it'll be eaten by buzzards and other animals, at which point the skeleton is thrown into the pit in the middle. You can find some disturbing looking pictures of these open burial sites, but they are a normal part of the religion. The idea is to keep the environment, which is a sacred part of the belief system, free from the contamination of a festering dead body. While exploring an unmapped section of the Grand Caverns in 1895, amateur spelunker/photographer Owen Jeffries was conducting photographic experiments, using super long exposures to see if anything at all could be captured in the total absence of light, also known as cave darkness. He would situate himself on level ground, extinguish his lantern, and then open the lens of his homemade box camera for as long as he could stand the darkness. During one of these experiments, he had heard something approaching from the deeper recesses of the cave. Frightened, Jeffrey abandoned his experiment and set off one of the flashbulbs he used for taking traditional photos underground. According to the report he later gave to a local newspaper, Jeffrey saw 3 humanoid creatures staring at him from the shadows and took off running in the other direction and didn't stop running until he was topside. Several days later, he returned with 3 other men to retrieve his box camera. This is the image that was recorded on the film inside. This creepypasta was originally posted to V in 2013, and there's not a whole lot of information about it online. The 4chan post appears to be the oldest source of the story and photo, and it didn't spread around much outside the image board. One interesting place it did spread to though is the Bigfoot community, which is a pretty funny crossover. The photo itself doesn't appear to be authentic. When doing photo forensics, you can see clear signs of editing around the supposed glowing eyes. This process is called error level analysis. I won't explain completely how it works, but any colorful and bright area of this analysis layer that exists only surrounded by black is a clear sign of something being digitally added to the photo at some point in time. And we can see that here. The history of the painting is actually a little clouded, as it's changed hands so often, usually after short periods of time. For whatever reason, people always seem to be in a rush to get rid of it. When gazing upon the painting, people have frequently reported feeling uneasy, as if a nagging feeling tells them that someone is standing behind them, watching, and that the girl in the painting is actually looking towards this unseen presence. People invariably turn around to tell themselves that nothing is there, though this does little to quell their fears, as most are then sure that the girl in the painting is now watching them. Anyone who has spent time alone in the same room as the painting will become unnerved and have to leave, convinced that they're being watched from behind no matter where they face, and many also report hearing light footsteps, shuffling, and even breathing. It seems that these uneasy feelings and audible phenomena are not stopped by removing the painting from the property, and the entire atmosphere of a home can be permanently and negatively affected by simply displaying the image briefly. In most documented cases, once the negative effects have been experienced, they tend to stick around. Disturbingly, these events have been reported not only in the presence of the painting, but also reproductions of it, such as prints, photographs, or digital screens. This is a pretty decent creepypasta, but it's one that has pretty obscure origins. I guess it's just not that widely known. It took me quite a while to figure out where this might have come from, and I think I may have managed to track down a potential source. Doing a combination of image back searches and searching through archive URLs of a Polish creepypasta site called Straszna Historia, I was able to find a post from 2013 that included a slightly larger version of the painting.
That sounds cool.
This post credits someone
I don't know
named
Polish
as the
though.
author, but it also says it was sourced from another Polish site called Paranormalna.pl. This link appears dead on the surface and also isn't in the Internet Archive, but that's because this is linking to a specific post. When browsing pages in this form, you'll notice that the pages iterate in multiples of 15. Changing the 981 in the URL to 975 brings you to a properly archived page. This mirrors the exact story posted on Straszna Historia, and it in turn credits a site called hauntedtoyshop.co.uk as the source. And this link is properly dead. It's not in the Internet Archive either. I'm willing to bet that this haunted toy shop is the source of this image. Judging by the pages that are archived, this site seems to be some Web 1.0 collection of creepypastas. We may never get proper confirmation, but I'm willing to believe that this is where the story came from. Oh man, I can't believe we forgot about this, but what about the painting? Where does that come from? Unfortunately, I can't answer that either. Image back searches led nowhere, but if you happen to recognize it, please write a comment. I hope you enjoyed this walk down memory lane, guys. At some point, I might wind the clock back even more and do a video about 4chan stuff from the 2000s, but probably not for a while. Before we go, take a look at that. Can you see it? I don't know if it's like visible in the camera. Yeah, I think you can see it there. Does that look familiar? This is actually the wallpaper that was in the background.
From the back rooms.
Well, not the exact wallpaper, but the exact same kind from the same manufacturer and time period. This was sent in to me by my buddy Regularly Blue. I'll link his channel down below. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you all have a very happy Halloween.
Okay, we have time for one more. Are we going to do salad fingers or don't touch me, I'm scared? Okay. I guess we'll do don't touch me, I'm scared. Don't thought me, I'm scared. Yeah, don't even think about me. I know that's real hard
Nothing
to
grabs
do,
the
Duke,
internet's collective
considering.
curiosity quite as much as discovering
What just happened to my YouTube? She donked. Hello? YouTube? YouTube! Oh no! Come back! YouTube! There you are. Jesus Christ. Ooh, lost media. I'll save that to my... Don't hug me. I'm scared. I knew it was something. Don't hug me. I'm scared. Okay. Does it do these in order at all? I'm assuming they go this way. 5, 4, 3, help, 2. Yeah. Okay. We're going to do them. I'm not sorry for those of you who haven't seen this. Welcome to peak early 2000s horror. It's not really horror, but like defo disturbing. Same. I'm gonna traumatize a new generation of the internet. That's my goal. Fun fact, flies poop everywhere they land. This took so much work. Like, acknowledge. Video is too loud, let me know, because like it's loud for me, but I know better. Oh, we love it. Peak. I think it's just credits after that. Yeah. Okay, next one. Down we go. Oh, I should turn on the captions because God knows we cannot read without, hear. We can't hear without our captions. This is addictive. It's going to be living in your head rent-free for days.
What's your favorite idea? Mine is being creative.
How do you get that idea?
I just try to think creatively. Now when you look at this orange, tell me please, what do you see?
It's just a boring old orange.
Maybe to you, but not to me. I see a silly face.
Whoa.
Walking along and smiling at me.
I don't see what you mean.
'Cause you're not thinking creatively. So take a look at my hair.
Cool.
I use my hair to express myself.
That sounds really boring.
I use my hair to express myself. Now, when you stare at the clouds in the sky, don't you find it exciting?
No.
Come on, take another.
Wait, I can see a hat. I can see a cat. I can see a man with a baseball bat. I can see a dog. I can see a frog. I can see a ladder leaning on a log.
Think you're getting the hang of it now, using your minds to have.
I might paint a picture of a clown.
I'm adorable.
Then you might
Okay.
Slow down. Here's another good tip.
Yeah?
Of how to be a creative whiz kid. Go and collect some leaves and sticks and arrange them into your favorite color.
Blue. Red. Green.
Green is not a creative color. There's one more thing that you need to know before you let
Sorry,
your
green
creativity
lovers.
flow. Listen to your heart, listen to the rain, listen to the voices in your brain. Come on, guys, let's get creative. Get creative.
I really hope no one watching this is on illicit substances because this is gonna hurt real bad.
Now let's all agree to never be creative again.
Let's never be creative again. Oh, stop it. YouTube, don't do this to me. Nightmares. Oh, and here I thought your favorite color was teal. Oh my God, it's really, my thing's like, no, we're not showing more of that to people. We're not. I don't even have to try to be perfectly in sync with this.
We only have 5 minutes until our show's on.
That's not enough time. There's always time for a song.
What? Who is that?
I'm gonna hypnotize you like a metronome.
Time is a tool you can put on the wall or wear it on your wrist. The past is far behind us. The future doesn't exist.
Oh, what's the time?
It's 9:15. Time to have a bath. What do you mean? We're already clean.
Scrub, scrub, scrub till the water's brown. Time is a ruler
Oh.
to measure the day. It doesn't go backwards.
My captions. Okay. Now you can all sing along.
Only one way. Watch it go round like a merry-go-round. Going so fast like a merry-go-round.
Let's go on a journey through all time, a time that's changing all the time. It's time to go to time.
But we don't really want to. We're going to miss our show.
Don't be stupid, friends. Come on, it's time to go. Time was old, like a Victorian time.
With cobbles and plague and speaking in rhyme. With cobbles and chimneys, a simpler time. This tree that is old has circles inside.
The tree that is older has shriveled and died.
The apple that's fresh is ripe to the core.
And I'm not over time, and I'm not anymore.
Time can be told by the moon or the sun, but time flies fast when you're having fun. There's a time and a place for mucking around.
And camping.
I'm friends with my dad.
That is
And
dad.
then what happened after the olden days?
Time went new and got old like history. Stuff from the past went into a mystery.
An old man died.
But look, a computer. Everything's cool. It's the future. Time is now. The future anew. And look at all the wonderful things you can do with gadgets and gizmos and email addresses.
My dad is a computer.
Look at the time.
It's 7:45. There's fish on my plate.
It's 8:20. There's fish on my tray.
It's 11:12. There's fish in the bar.
It's 9:30. There's fish everywhere. Fish everywhere.
Now you can see
Fish
the importance of
everywhere.
time. It helps us make pizza.
I'm not
keeps things in
a
line.
fish.
When did it start?
And when will it stop? Time is important, and I am a clock.
If we run out of time, then where does it go?
Is time even real? Does anyone know?
Maybe time's just a construct of human perception, an illusion created by...
I'll kill you. Just kidding.
Sunrise, sunset, night and day. The changing seasons, the smell of hay. Look at your hair grow, isn't it strange? How time makes your appearance change.
I'm gonna give someone an existential crisis.
Make it stop!
It's out of my hands, I'm only a clock. Don't worry, I'm sure you'll be fine. But eventually everyone runs out of time.
If you're watching this, then we need your help.
Rubber. Well, click link below. What link? Oh, it's a Kickstarter thing. Okay.
Isn't it nice to finally be outside on such a beautiful day?
Yes, and I've packed us a delicious chicken picnic.
Huh?
Pesky bee.
He seems upset about something. I wonder what will happen.
It makes you sad, doesn't it? That there's so much hatred in the world. I hope you don't mind if I ask you a question.
A little baby pigeon.
Have you ever wondered why
That's
we're here?
not a
What's it
pigeon.
all
Nope.
about? You've no
Incorrect.
idea. And everywhere you look, all you see is hatred. And darkness, death, and fear. But you know
Oh,
it doesn't
captions.
have to be that I hate you and you hate
Hate me.
Cause even though we're different, it doesn't make a difference. And we can live in harmony. I know you don't know who I am, but maybe I could hold your hand, and together we could understand about love.
Huh? I feel tingly.
Yes, that's love, my friend. And it's time for you to learn all about it. And do you ever feel like life's unfair? 'Cause everybody hates you and no one cares. But if you follow me, maybe you will see that love is everywhere.
But what is love? Is it in the sky? No, it's a feeling deep inside. Because I'm hungry.
No, you're lonely. I can see it in your eyes.
I don't understand.
Don't worry, you will soon. Come and meet some of my friends. They know all about love. Come on, just over the rainbow.
Oh, look, there he goes, flying through the sky.
Maybe we should follow him, or we'll get left behind.
Yes, but there's lots of chicken left. I'd like to eat the chicken.
I'd also like to eat the chicken. Let's do that instead.
So here we are with all my friends, and they love you, all of them.
Yes, we do.
It is true.
We love you.
You love us too.
I love you too, fairy boy.
Harder.
Now we've eaten the chicken.
You just
I
say
don't know what
harder.
to do.
Maybe we should look for our friend. Isn't that what friends do?
Don't
Now we have
eat raw
finished the chicken
chicken.
picnic.
Mm-mm.
To love each other is to care, to be kind.
And to share. I love my friends, so I give them a hug.
I made this for you because I love you so much.
I love my pet because he's a crab.
I love this tree, and I love this stick, and I love this
No,
mug.
that's not how it's done. You must save your love for your special one.
My special one?
Everyone has a special one.
Even me? But I am lonely.
Yes, it's true, but do not worry. You're confused, but that's okay. Let me put it another way.
This is the story of Michael, the loneliest boy in town. This is the story of Michael, the ugliest boy in town. Ugly and weak, they called him a freak, so he lived on his own underground.
Oh,
He lived on his
Michael.
own underground. He lived on his own underground.
You see, everyone has a special one.
Even Michael.
Your heart beats hard like a big love drum, calling for your special
That's right.
one.
Don't give up.
Patient, because just maybe.
If Michael has a special one,
He's made
so
for
do you.
her.
She's made for him.
That's the way it's always been.
And it's perfect.
And it's pure.
And it's protected with a ring.
That's the way that all love goes. Like a flower, it grows and grows.
And it's forever.
And forever.
And now we all worship our king. Our king. Our king. His name is Malcolm.
He is the king of love.
We must feed him.
We must feed him gravel.
Or he becomes
At least
angry.
it's grab 'em.
And this is your chance to start anew. And all we're asking you to do.
Is change your name.
Clean your brain.
Forget about anything you ever knew.
And your heart will vanish home.
And our love will never go.
Now wear this ring
And join the king.
and you will never be alone.
Oh, there you are. We've been looking for you all afternoon.
We're sorry we upset you, but look, we've brought you the last boiled egg to cheer you up.
I guess it must be because we love you.
For me?
Father!
Pesky bee.
Oh my god. Not Malcolm. You're burning him. Oh. No. Father Drew.
Oh, I guess it's my turn to choose a card. Let's see. What is the biggest thing in the world?
That's a tricky one.
A mountains? A sky? A windmill?
No.
If only there was a way to learn more about the world.
Yes, if only there was some way to learn more information about this.
Wow, look!
I'm a computer. I'm a computery guy. Everything made out of buttons and wires. I'd like to show you inside my digital life. Inside my mind there is a digital mind.
Oh, maybe you could help us answer this question. What is the biggest
Clever. I'm very clevery guy.
Wow.
Count to a 50 in the blink of my eye and print a picture. And then I tell you the time. Help you to find something you're wanting to find.
Thanks for coming.
It's easy to be a clever, smart boy like me. If you could do it all.
Sorry for the trauma you're about to experience.
Wow, I'd like to be as smart as a computer.
Actually, we already have
Me
a
too.
computer.
Great news! Now, before we begin our journey, I just need to get some information from you. What's your name? Where do you live? What do you like to eat?
I live in my house.
Spaghetti!
Well, my name is...
Great news! Now just a few more questions and we'll be on our way.
Wait a second.
What's your favourite colour?
Stop
Do you
talking.
like cows or goat's milk?
Be
Do you
quiet.
have brown hair? What is your blood type? Are you allergic
Shut
to...
up!
Don't touch me!
What?
Welcome to my digital home. Everything made out of numbers and code.
Wow, we're all computery.
Oh yeah, wow, because of the computer.
I don't get it. How can it be if I'm sitting at home but I'm inside the screen?
But you're not you. You're your digital you. Virtually real, but controlled by real you.
But if he's not quite real, then I'm not real too. And you're not real you is inside your real you.
Oh wow, how amazing and interesting too. But in this digital world, what can we do? What can we do?
Oh, good question. Well, it's up to you.
He's never seen these before,
world,
so don't spoil it for him.
Wow, look, a pie chart.
Digital style.
Do a digital dancing. Hey, this is fun.
Wow, look, a bar graph.
Digital style.
Do a digital dancing. Hey, this is fun.
Wow, look, a line graph.
Digital style.
Do a digital dancing. Hey, this is fun.
Wow, look at oblong.
Digital style.
Do a digital dancing. Hey, this is fun.
Wow, look, nothing.
Digital style.
Do a digital dancing. Hey, this is fun.
Nothing.
Digital style.
Dancing. Hey, this is fun.
Nothing.
Digital style.
Do a digital dancing. Hey, this is fun. Dancing. Hey, this is fun.
Oh no.
I am going to paint a picture of a clown. My dad has a computer. Not invited to the party.
Wait, what?
That for yeah.
Something's different.
Something's missing.
Is it this guy?
Steak and beef, chicken chow. Grapes and eggs.
Oh, fine.
Eggs.
I'll stop slouching.
Are you hungry? You look to be a bit hungry.
No.
Do, 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 do. Lots of people get hungry.
That's your body. Hungry comes from your body.
Get off.
Not your body. It must have to be healthy.
What's that? A tasty snack. You don't want to go and eat a snack like that.
Don't make me
Greedy
drink
to eat all
during this
that,
episode.
You'll end up with your teeth all grey.
Do, 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 do.
Do 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 it healthy. Food is talking.
I know. I am.
Let's get healthy now.
This is before computer animation, so this is all like people. They're puppets.
What's right from wrong? You see, the body is like a special house.
There was, yes, but like
And organs in the different rooms. Oh, look,
most of it.
There's Mr. Bladder in the basement.
All of this,
Now
they're
food
puppets.
Comes in through the chimney, mouth, and goes from room to room, greeting the different organs.
Hello.
Now, the
The
good healthy food is
organs.
very nice and polite to the organs, and so is invited to stay for a party. Yay! But the bad, not healthy foods are very rude and must leave through the cat flap.
Rude.
That doesn't make sense.
Do, 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 do.
Do 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 be healthy.
The early 2000s.
Hello?
What's that? A tasty snack. You don't want to go and eat a snack like that.
Greedy to eat all that, you'll end up with your gums all grey.
But something's wrong.
Exactly. How do we know which ones are the healthy foods to eat?
Well, that's easy. The food groups can easily be sorted using the simple health shape. Choosing
Curry.
normal, plain-looking foods,
Plain
such
foods,
as bread,
fancy foods,
cream,
curry.
white sauce, and aspic keep the body ticking over just nicely. Isn't that right?
I need to
But
go.
wait, what's this?
Fancy show-offy foods like cooked meats, fruit salad, soil foods, and yolk.
Ugh.
These foods will clog up the body with unnecessary detail. Oh no! Look, it's all broken and on the floor.
Everything tastes great. But maybe we should wait before we put it on the plate. Or it could be too late. for your-
Food experts.
What's that? A pizza slice? But you're better off with plain white sauce.
What's that? Plain white sauce? Plain white sauce makes your teeth go grey.
Doesn't matter. Just throw it away. Why not try something else on your tray?
Oh, what's that? A lovely pie? But you're gonna end up sad inside.
Ugh, sad
So unhinged.
But everyone has the teeth go grey. Just eat yeast and it'll go away.
Just
How much have you had today? Too much yeast makes your teeth go grey.
How about some onion paste? Looks like fun. Have a taste.
That wasn't onion paste. You shouldn't eat food from a stranger's plate. 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 A stranger's plate.
I'm so sorry, our way. I kind of wish Eugene was here. I wonder if he's seen these. Remind me to ask him Monday. Or if he pops into my stream tomorrow. Me. Oh.
Good night, guys.
There's nobody there.
I miss you.
Oh. All his friends are dead.
Oh, somebody's sleepy. But that's silly.
No.
This is a real life, like,
How can
your
you be
insomnia.
sleepy if you don't know how to have dreams?
No, I don't want to know. I don't want to know how to have dreams. No. No.
Dreams are movies that live in your head.
Stop.
Every night when you sleep in your bed. You could have a dream about riding a horse.
No.
Or you could have a dream about drowning in oil.
No. No more songs.
Oh, looks like somebody's having a bad dream. Bad dream. Bad dream. A bad dream.
Oh, that's right. You're streaming now, aren't you, dude? I'm so sorry. I'm infecting your stream.
Can you file these files, please? Yeah. Sure. Hey, but wouldn't it be funny if one of these files came alive? You know, I am a file and you put documents in me and a a file. Funny. File. You know, it did it like a song. No. That sounds really boring.
Killjoy. Oh. That's what happened to Red Guy. Oh. Now he's at the bar, alone.
But I was like, yeah, that's not even the same bucket. Bucket friend. I am the cool guy, I guess. Laid back and sad. And nowadays I hurt my leg today. I'm scared that you're fine. I like getting it all back. Usually fine. Play. Now I watch them coach in. The guy Stephen Nelson's. Huh? But that's rude. No clothes.
He's the only one who's
What's your
naked.
favorite idea? Mine is being creative. How do you get the idea? I just try to think creatively. When you look at this orange, tell me please, what do you see? It's just a boring old orange. Or maybe to you, but not to me. All I see is silly face. Boo. Walking along and smiling at me. I don't see what you mean. Cause you're not thinking
I don't like
creatively.
it. Really
Take a look
not
at my
good.
hair.
Boo.
Use my hair to express
It's not very good at all. Not good.
It's not very good.
Not very good. I don't like it.
Now, friend, your voice is music to my face.
Thank you so much for the follow. No worries. Welcome. This might be a weird time.
Time is a tool you can put on the wall or wear it on your wrist. The past is far behind us.
Welcome to the
future
chaos.
Doesn't exist. Time went new and got old like history. Stuff from the past went into a mystery. You made me die.
I'm a computer guy. Everything made out of buttons and wires. I'd like to show you.
Oh, me too.
What's it all about? You've no idea, and everywhere you look, all you see is hatred and
Ice cream beef? Ice cream beef makes your teeth go gra.
Doesn't matter, just throw it away. Why not try some?
This on my tray? What? Where am I?
We are in the universe. Planets live inside the moon. A rocket ship can go to space. A rocket ship can go to the moon.
Sports ball. Let's play sports. Cricket ball. Red card.
I'm a magnet, and I'm friends with magnet attraction, and it's my best friend.
Dig a hole at the bottom of your stop. Doobop-a-doobop. I teach you how to buy a canoe.
I am a file and you put documents in me.
For go, but red is for not go. You can be crushed by a bus. I know about you.
Dinky Mouse.
Music is your favorite.
No, I don't like it.
Oh.
I wonder what will happen.
The Great Reset.
What's your favorite idea?
You should be. You missed the first few. Just wait until I do salad figures next week.
Pesky bee.
Oh, that must have been a trailer. Late September, egg.
We gotta get things ready for the big day, big day.
Hey,
We gotta get things
guys.
ready for the special day. Yay!
Follow me.
And follow me also. We gotta get things ready for the special day.
Oh my god! I'm gonna have to find that now. Oh, I'll do it for next week. I didn't know there were new episodes.
Greetings, my children. It is I, Simon Gilchrist, the announcement angel. Hark! I announce a new website has been born on this day. Behold! Now go, my children.
Did he miss?
Spread my word.
I'm not
For those
looking that
who
up.
access the website will be rewarded with
Oh
its
god.
contents.
Hey, a website. Websites are the future.
Oh, don't hug me. I'm okay. I see. All right. Yeah, definitely have to check it out later. Cool. Hark. Rewarded with content. Yes. I will. For next week. Look that up. And yes, super cool timing. Oh my god. I was like, I didn't know. I haven't been on this channel in so long. All right. Well, I'm going to end things here. I'm going to raid everybody into Duke's channel because he's live right now. Maybe if I can figure this out. Shh, nobody knows. I have no idea what I'm doing. It's okay. Oh, the clicky. I hate it. I hate the clickies. Wait, am I an actual silly person? Can't remember this. Oh, okay. Got it. Jesus. Okay. Bye, everyone. Thanks for coming. I'll be back on tomorrow for more Fatal Frame.